It's time to welcome the world, and not only the world, but welcome everyone here at Whistler. It's day number 5 at Crankworx, and a big day planned for you. 11 years of the Garbo, it keeps getting better and better. Day 5, well, it starts right now.
Hi, I'm Marcelo Gutierrez, and you're watching the Garbanzo DH live from Crankworx Whistler.
Well, the riders are getting ready here for day number 5, your Garbo DH. And I'll tell you what, we've seen a few of the events so far. The Fat Tire Crit, we did that on Friday. Speed and Style on Saturday. The Canadian Open Enduro on Sunday. But it's all about the Garbo DH, and that is coming your way here in just a little bit. But before we get into the Garbo DH, let's check in with Jackie Montgomery. Jackie?
Thanks, Brad. Well, we are here in Whistler, the birthplace of Crankworx, 11 years in the making. And now after over a week of high temperatures and 0 rain, the clouds have finally come in, and it is much welcomed by not only the athletes, but the course itself. Now, we'll talk about how the rain is going to affect the track later on, but for now, let's turn to Cy with more from the competition.
Thank you, Jackie. We're here talking about the competition today. Last year's previous winner, Emily Rigo, she's not here today. It's going to be almost a 2-horse race. We've got Casey Brown and Claire Buchar. They're going to be the top 2 women racing this category today. Then we're going to move over to the elite men's category. We got Marcelo Gutierrez, the Colombian, racing for the Giant Factory Off-Road Racing Team. He won here last year. He's had a lot of practice runs this morning as well as yesterday. So he's going to be the top spot. He's going to be your favourite this afternoon. Over to you, Tristan.
Thanks, Cy. The wait is over. We are here, the legendary Garbanzo DH. 3,400 vertical feet of descent, 7 kilometers of single track. It's like nothing else the riders face in the world. It's 3 to 5 times the length of your average World Cup downhill course. It's rocky, it's rooty, it's been dry for a long time. We're gonna have to see how the weather plays out today, and the riders are gonna have to go on a full-on assault. We see the course record drop each and every year. My guess is it's gonna drop again today. Brad?
Tristan Merrick, the man they call the captain. Thank you so much, Tristan. Well, I'm just getting word right now, pro women are on course. I'll tell you what, if you want to be on course, well, not here, but social media on course, hashtag everything Crankworx. That's right, hashtag Crankworx. And if you're following on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, that is at Crankworx. We'll be right back with more. The racing coming your way. Don't go anywhere. Crankworx Whistler.
You miss me? I miss all of y'all.
Hey! 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 I can see it the way you like. I can do it the way you want.
Oh, yeah. The only place you want to be right here, Crankworx Whistler, day 5. And we are just about set for the Garbo DH. Cy Payton, Brad J, Tristan Merrick, the captain with us. And I'll tell you what, Cy, first question to you, 11 years of the Garbo, what do you think we're going to see out here? We see fireworks every year, but how about this year?
You know what, this year's going to be even better. The track is getting really rough and tough out there. It's been so dry. Marcelo Gutierrez, he won it last year, the Colombian. It is his to throw away. He practiced a lot yesterday and this morning. He's been up there with Danny Hart. Let's see what he can do this afternoon. All
right, to you, the captain. Now, you're here out here. You live out here in Whistler. You're here all year long. Haven't had a lot of rain. How's that going to play into the course conditions out here today, Tristan?
I mean, it's rolling fast, but it's really blown out. The biggest thing they're going to have to deal with is a lot of, errant rocks that have rolled out into the course from all the other riders. You're going to have to adapt and go on the fly here. You finished practice this morning. Some of these guys aren't racing until way later in this afternoon, so it's just going with the flow and putting down a strong, solid run top to bottom.
Well, so you talk about Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas, last year's winner, but by the magic of video, why don't we do this? Why don't we rewind the clock 365 days ago and take a look at what went down last year for the Garbo DH. Take a look.
You're watching Crankworx Whistler.
Gentlemen, this school is about combat. There are no points for second place.
Garbanzo downhill.
Emmeline Rago, here we go. Got a good time coming in for Emmeline. What's it gonna be? A 14-19 first place for Emmeline Rago.
Now you're coming off of the big win in the World Cup in Quebec and you win here today. What are your celebration plans for tonight?
I know, maybe you have some rest and we do a couple practice run on the A-line to be ready for tomorrow.
All right, well, good luck the rest of the week. I know you have 2 more races to go. Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
And here we go. Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas coming, making his way down. Lands from the jump, crossing the time. Look at this, a 12:28 for Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas. And taking the top spot and beating the time from last year.
Marcelo, you have finished second in the Garbo downhill the past 2 years. How does it feel to finally be called Garbanzo downhill champion?
It's a big satisfaction for me. I'm proud of taking the gold medal today. I was looking for it since the last 2 years. I was racing in Garbo. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it. This year I was feeling better. I was actually really stressed and nervous at the top. But this morning I had a very good run and I was confident that if I put together everything I was training and the lines I was doing, I could do something good. I'm happy that it came together and I'm in the first place now.
And a big congratulations to Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas, the big winner last year. You had Sam Blankensop. He came in second. Remy Govin in third. Now Sam Blankensop, not seeing him out here. Not the Kiwi's not going to be out here. But Emmeline Rago, she's not here as well. But you got Claire Buchar, who's here. Ollie Finiak, who ended up in third for ladies. She's not here. So does that open the door, Tristan, for some other athletes out there to try and get up there on the podium?
100%, especially in the women's category. You got Casey Brown and Claire Buchar. This is their chance. Claire's gotten second. Last year, she's done very well in the past. I think, though, this is her time. Today is the now to go for that attack.
You know, inside, looking at all the last years and all the years of the Garbo DH and seeing what the results are, you don't see anyone's ever really won it twice. We saw Sam Hill do it in 06, 07, a little bit different back then. But why do we not see repeat winners year after year in the Garbo DH?
You know, the Garbanzo downhill course is a very unique course, Brad. It's so long. You know, we've seen the riders, about 12.5 minutes it's going to take to come down there. So, you know, you do need a little bit of lady luck on your hands, on your side as well. It's not just down to the skill, you know, and the physical endurance of coming down the course. Anything can happen up there. And I'm pretty sure we'll see that, you know, with mechanicals, punctures, etc. So that's always going to come into factor to making sure there's not going to be a consistent winner year on year on year.
Well, I think we can take a look at the start list right now and break it down for the ladies. Now, we only have 7 ladies out here in the mix. You got Casey Brown. She's been on top of the podium. We got Claire Buchar. She's been up there. But what is it up for the other ladies out there? Is a chance for them to get up there, too, as well, Tristan?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, this is a chance for them to shine in the spotlight. A couple Brazilians, one Australian, and one fellow countryman of Cy Payton here. So there's some good names up on that board there. And I think, though, you know, Casey Brown, one of the most stylish female riders in the game right now. She can whip better than most of the boys. But it's her and Claire Buchar's race to really battle it out here. Canadian supremacy on the Garbo DH track.
Well, Claire has done it. She's been on the podium in all different positions, won it in 11, third in 2012, second in 2013, and right now she is standing by. Jackie Montgomery with Claire Buchar. Check it out.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Claire Buchar, who finished second in the Garbo downhill last year. How has practice been going out there today?
It's really crazy out there with the conditions this year. It's super bony, like everything. All the dirt's gone. It's been so dry and really slippery, just because it's so dusty. There's a bit of dust on everything. So it's been interesting, to say the least.
Have you been able to ride it all since we got the little bit of rain earlier today? Did that help?
Yeah, it might have just kept the dust down a tiny bit, but it didn't really affect the track or anything. So yeah, well, hopefully it holds off, and so that we all kind of know what to expect.
Now, the Garbo is such a long downhill track, very grueling. How do you mentally and physically prepare for this race?
Oh, man, it's hard. Like, you know, everybody trains really hard, but I think bottom line is you just got to be prepared to feel pain and stay strong through the pain, because you could easily lose it. As soon as you get tired, which is really only 1 minute in, you can only go so hard for so long before you're redlining. And then it's just hang on and keep your cool, because you could easily just, you know, get too tired and start making all these mistakes. And so, yeah, it's really like a mentally tough, you know, kind of event.
All right. Well, you finished last year in second, so I think you are mentally prepared to do it again this year. Claire Buchar getting ready to take her run. Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, Claire, breaking it down for you right there. And we were talking about conditions, Tristan. I mean, when the conditions change, you have dry conditions all the time. I mean, you kind of know how the track's going to be working, but when you have a little bit of rain mixed in there, it does change things up and how you prepare for it, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so far, though, looking up at the top of the hill behind us, the weather has been pretty good, but it was raining when I was doing a track walk up there earlier on. It wasn't raining down here that much, but up there it was definitely coming down. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see exactly what it's done, if it's affected anything whatsoever.
And Cy, did you see Claire? She looked really relaxed and calm before a big race like this.
Calm before the storm. You know what? She knows this course like the back of her hand, but you could still say from what she was saying that she's still got to, you've got to respect the course, you know, the conditions. We say from the weather, you know, it hasn't really rained. It's still going to be very dry and dusty. I think you've got to throw caution to the wind. In some sections, you've really got to go for it, but in other parts, you have really got to stay on the brakes and take it easy, because you don't want to throw it away, because it's a 15-minute course for these women down here, and anything can happen down there. They've got to make sure they stay out of trouble from those rocks and those roots.
All right, we got something called In the Zone. Before we play it, can you kind of tell us exactly what it's at, just real quick?
It's a sweet Garbanzo video that we made the other day, actually, for the Whistler Bike Park marketing ad campaign. So we showcased the Fit Zone, the Garbo Zone, and the Peak Zone. And this was the Garbo one we got to film in some wet weather conditions earlier this month.
Well, check it out. This is what's called In the Zone. Take a look.
Do one lap up here, and it totally changes your idea of what the bike park is and what it should be. The higher up the hill you go, the more adventure you start to get, but an amazing environment for intermediate riders right up to your advanced riders.
'Cause it's 4 a.m. in the morning, there's a chance we won't like what we
You've got so many options, from your Blue Velvet to your original trails that started all like Original Sin and No Joke from top to bottom. I think the best thing that sums up a day in Garbanzo is coming up here by yourself, riding the chair solo on kind of a wet, misty, dark day when everybody else is cooped up in the village. You're up here and just putting in those wet laps. It just feels like your own bike park, just pure solitude, nobody else up here. It feels like another world. Probably one of the biggest misconceptions about the Garbanzo chair, though, and the terrain that's up here is that it's for advanced riders only. And that couldn't be further from the truth, such as Blue Velvet, which can take you from the top of the mountain all the way down the village, link you in with a Crank It Up. So you can be staying on a nice blue intermediate run, jumps, berms, nice smooth terrain from top down into the lower mountain zone, back into the Fitzsimmons zone.
So we close our eyes and we count to 3 just to see.
It's your own adventure. You can choose whatever you want, as rugged as you want. You can go test your skills, really push yourself and push your riding to the limits within the confines of the bike park.
And that's a little something kind of breaking it down in the Whistler Bike Park, where, of course, Captain Tristan Merrick spends a lot of time. How much time do you really spend in this bike park on a daily basis when you don't have the cast on?
Well, not as much as I would like to. That's probably the biggest thing nowadays. I mean, there's so much going on in life with different events, but I mean, every chance I can get, I'm up there. But of course, this sweet black accessory that I have wrapped around my arm right now is keeping me out of there. It's kind of, you know, it's a not a good thing, not a good thing.
Not a good thing. Well, I think we got, okay, it's a course that runs about 15 minutes long, so if you're watching this at home on the web, we're only gonna have the best part of the coverage, gonna be the last 2 minutes, millions and millions of dollars to try and cover this whole 15-minute course, so we're gonna bring you the best possible coverage, the final 2 minutes of it, and we have the pro women on course right now. I think our first competitor, this should be Bruna Ulrich, I think from Brazil.
Yeah, Bruna Ulrich there, the Brazilian rider. She's on course at the moment. As you can see, the clock is ticking by 17 or so seconds. She was the South American champion, junior #1 rider about 6 years ago. She crosses line. She takes first spot at the moment with that time of 17 minutes, 36 seconds.
So 17:36 and 7 of the pros. So Bruna Ulrich will be our first time in the books for your Garbo DH here. Well, as I was breaking it down to you, you know, 15-minute downhill, that's pretty much what this course is running. You're looking about 15 minutes, as you saw 17 minutes right there out of Bruna, but about 15 minutes. The last 2 minutes or so, that's gonna be the coverage that we're able to bring to you online, so we appreciate everyone watching online. It'd be impossible to try and get the whole thing, or it would cost a whole ton of money to be able to cover a 15-minute race. So the last 2 minutes, is that what you're getting out here? And Bruno's gonna be our first time of the 17:36.
I think the cool thing, though, Brad, with a race this long, though, all the women have already set off. They've already out on course. And it's always cool that the war is battling right now. There's not somebody up in the start gate knowing exactly what the time is that's won. They've already gone out before the first person gets down to the bottom of the hill.
So it's just you run your race, right? You just know how fast you can take it. You've had a chance to warm up on it a little bit, but you just got to run your race and not really worry what everyone else is doing, because you're not going to know.
Exactly, exactly. But I think gone are the days you can't really conserve yourself on these races, especially in the pro men category. They're giving it 100%. They're sprinting every chance they can get.
And Lorraine Truong right here crossing the line for Lorraine. That's going to be a 16:09. 16:09, that's going to put her in the top spot.
You know, Lorraine there, first place. She's an enduro racer. She got 8th in the World Series over there at Le Fuel. You can see she's running a single Crown Forks on the bike. So she's not really a downhill star, but you know, this is almost an enduro race with 15 so minutes worth of course in front of you. So she's held it well together there. But next up, dropping in through the line at the moment, we have Sarah Booth from the 317 plate. She goes 3rd place.
So Sarah Booth now moving into the 3rd spot, as you were saying. So Truong holding the top time is 16:09. Ulrich in that 2nd spot is 17:36. And Booth right behind that from Australia, 17:39 for her.
So this is Barbara Shoro there. She was the 2nd rider off, so I think she's been caught by 1 or 2 riders, so she's close to the 20-minute barriers. We see her now, 19 minutes. 20-odd seconds.
Getting caught out in the weeds again. A very difficult and demanding course. So dry, so dusty. I mean, Si, you've been riding this week. There's a lot of errant rocks rolling around on the tracks.
Yeah, you know, we haven't been used to it, this British riders. We've had some good weather lately back home, but not compared to this. We're used to a bit more mud and rain. Barbara Sherrow there, she comes in 19 minutes, 31 seconds, 4th place for the Brazilian rider.
And now we take our attention. Looks like this is Claire Buchar now. Claire making her way down. You talk about Claire. She won it in 2011, second in 2013 last year, third in 2012. So she's got every single position on that podium, and she has a great time cooking for her right now at 14 and counting as she makes her way down.
Claire looking so relaxed when we spoke to her earlier on today. Just chatting to her, she said, I don't know, I'm nervous. I'm more nervous than normal. I don't get to go to the big races anymore, but I mean, this is Crankworx. This is in her backyard, folks.
Oh, check the time right now. 14:17, coming down the GLC, putting in those pedal strokes, getting across the line for Claire Buchar. Look at this, a 14:22.64, your #1 spot. Let's hear it for Claire, putting on a flyer on that run.
Claire only about 3.5 seconds back from last year's winning time. So Claire actually getting a personal best compared to her time last year, and only a few seconds back from what the win was last year for Emmeline Rago.
And you look at Claire, of course, Whistler local, so you know that she knows this course very well, the Garbo DH course, so running it very solid and putting in a fast time, Tristan.
Exactly. She does a lot of coaching here at Crankworx Racing. They're up there all the time, training the youth of tomorrow. I know they actually ride with Jack and Finn Isles quite a bit, and those two are on the up and up, winning races today.
Yeah.
Finn in the whip-off later on this week. So the Isles brothers, no stranger to that, and that's due to in part by what Claire and Chris do in terms of their training with the local youth.
So we have not seen Casey Brown yet, and I think Rachel Walker we had not seen come around yet. So 2 more ladies, I think, on course before we wrap this thing up and move over to the guys.
Yeah, so at the moment, Casey Brown's time of 14:46, so provisionally Claire Buchar could be taking this one. So we are looking for Casey Brown from Revelstoke, British Columbia. Top 10 at the 5th round of the World Cup at Mount St. Anne, so she knows what she's doing on the bike. We're looking up the course for her now.
All right, well, let's set things down. We got Jackie Montgomery standing by with our current leader, Claire Buchar. Jackie, take it.
Claire Buchar currently sitting in the hot seat, but we still have a couple riders to go. You can still see Casey Brown's time. What's going through your mind right now as you wait these final seconds out?
I'm just trying to breathe, catch my breath, and I guess I'll start thinking about how my run went when I can see.
Was it quite as dusty and slippery out there as you were saying earlier when we were talking about your practice runs?
Oh yeah, it's blown out, dusty. I just kept it steady because I knew, just stay on your bike. A few issues, but everyone's gonna have issues. It's like an adventure coming down from the top there, so.
All right, well, we will catch up with you as soon as we see these final runs come through. For now, I'll send it back up to you guys.
All right, well, here we go. Casey Brown pedaling across the finish line, going to check in with a 14:40, and that's going to put her in 2nd place behind Claire with that time. Casey Brown into 2nd. So what that does is Claire Buchar, the top time, 14:22. Casey Brown in 2nd, a 14:40. And Lorraine Truong in that 3rd spot with a 16:09. And I think Rachel Walker, a DNS. So I think that's going to wrap it up for the ladies. The guys are going to be coming up for just a little bit. We'll take a look at your leaderboard to break it down for you so far for all the ladies.
As a Canadian, I got to feel pretty good right now, Brad. Canadian 1-2. 1-2 on the Canadian side. So good to see Claire get up into that #1 spot and Casey Brown make it down in one piece.
And Claire, I mean, think about this also, her 2nd time that she has won the Garbo DH. She's finished in 3rd, she's finished in 2nd. Now she's got 2 #1s. She's definitely gunning to be the one to beat in the future.
It's a huge race to win. I mean, it's one of the most prestigious ones out there. It's one of the longest races out there. And why not do it in your backyard? It's such a great place, such a great vibe. Friends and family around cheering her on. And I know her husband, well, he's about to do battle later on in the Pro Men.
Talking about Chris Kavar coming up for you. Well, that's how it's playing out right now. Claire Buchar, of course, the #1 time, 14:22. And that's your unofficial winner at this point. And we'll be back. The Pro Men are coming up with you. Don't go anywhere. It's your Garbo DH, day #5, Crankworx Whistler.
miss me. I miss all of y'all.
I can see it the way you like. I can do it the way you need. Ride it, my motorcycle. You got a license. You got the right to.
Well, taking a look at it right there, there is your leaderboard. And you can see Claire on top, taking the big win. Casey Brown in second, Lorraine Truong in that third spot. But Tristan, my question to you is, I mean, this is Claire, her home territory. This is where she rides. Does that give her an advantage over the rest of the field?
100%. 100%. Claire knows the bike park. She's in there all the time, coaching the Groms, coaching the future riders here that'll be competing, probably winning some big races at Crankworx. So she knows every nook and cranny. You know, and I think just local knowledge, knowing how the dirt, how the terrain works, especially it's dustier than normal.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing, you've lived here a long time. You start to get a real good feel for how that is, how to set up your bike, and how to attack and when not to attack.
Now, Sai, you've been doing a little numbers crunching, I guess, here. Can you break down the number crunching you've been doing?
You know, I can break it down. I'm not quite sure how she actually did it, though, but Claire Buchar, on last year's time, an incredible 17 seconds, she has come faster. How has she done that? We don't know.
That's the
we
local.
need to ask her.
But that's the local. Isn't that the local nods that we talk about? I mean, she's 17 seconds faster than she was last year. So, Tristan, that was my question to you. Obviously, that pays off, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cool to see her do that, to shave a personal best right there, to get that low time, and only to be 3 seconds off last year's winning time. That's something you got to feel pretty good about.
Well, I think it's time to check in with Jackie Montgomery. She's standing by with our winner. Let's set it down right now. Jackie?
It's official. Claire Buchar, your 2014 Garbanzo Downhill Champion. How does it feel to be on top of the podium?
Well, it feels great. It always feels great to win, but I'm just satisfied that I did the best that I could.
Doing the best you could, you set a personal best record here with 14 minutes and 22 seconds, shaving 17 seconds off your time from last year. How were you able to go so fast this year?
I think I've got a little bit of a better bike setup this year. It's slightly lighter, and I'm just feeling really good on it, and I'm maybe a bit fitter this year for sure.
Being from Canada and winning this race at your local bike park, does it make the win even more sweet?
Yeah, for sure. I know this park and I know these trails, and I mean, it's definitely an advantage to be, you know, here in my hometown racing, sleeping in my own bed. But like I said, it feels sweet to, no matter what place I come, know that I did the best that I could do. So yeah, that's my goal every race.
Well, congratulations once again, Claire Buchar, your 2014 Garbanzo Downhill Women's Champion.
Oh, that's just awesome stuff right there. And what stands out in my mind is what she said about getting to sleep in your own bed. That's got to give you an advantage. Plus, being a local, knowing the trails, like she said, and just being comfortable at home.
I mean, you're eating your own food. You're eating what you want to eat. I mean, no offense to the European culture, European food, but it's hard when you're a North American rider to go overseas, eat something a little different. I'm sure, Sai, you're over here in Canada. You're maybe struggling with the dietary issues that you normally have going on. So hopefully you're doing okay with the Canadian cuisine.
Yeah, no bangers and mash for you?
You know, I haven't found a fish and chip shop yet, so if anyone knows of one out there, let me know.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit, guys, to talk a little bit about the bike technology. What different setup would you ride in a DH competition like this, Si?
You know, in such a long course, you got to talk about your suspension settings. You know, these top pro riders, they'll be having a chat. A lot of that sort of information is quite secret. You know, whether we want to slow down the rebound, it just depends on the course itself. But the problem is with this course is it's so varied the whole way down. You know, it's super gnarly, super steep and technical in one part, and the next bit, you know, you're pedaling. You could almost want to put like a reverb seat post on there, one of these extending seat posts that go up and down, because there is a bit of pedaling. There's even a tiny uphill section in there as well. So, you know, it's very difficult to say. We've even seen one of the ladies come down so far on an enduro bike, so I wouldn't quite go that far. But certainly, you got to be very careful on your bike setup this weekend.
All right, well, Jackie had a chance to catch up with Paul from Giant and kind of breaking down Marcelo's bike and what his bike's all about. Take a look at this and what happened when Jackie caught up with Paul.
Thanks, guys. We're here at the Giant 10, and I'm with Paul Miles, the mechanic for Marcelo Gutierrez. Now, he won this event last year, so what sort of bike do you have him on this year, Paul?
We have him on the new Giant 27.5 Glory, which comes out next year. It's the 2015 model, and it's debuting here.
Debuting here, so you guys are getting a sneak peek at this bike. Now, the Garbanzo downhill is arguably the toughest and most grueling downhill event all week long here at Crankworx. So, is there anything special that you have to do to this bike compared to maybe a, you know, A-line downhill or something like that?
No, the minor adjustments we do is a couple of PSI extra in the tires, maybe, depending on how Marcelo feels, and a dropper post so you can have a little break when you can on the pedaling.
Marcelo won this event last year, so are you sticking with the same sort of bike that he used last year, or is there anything that differentiates it?
No, last year he ran the 26-inch Glory with the World Cup setup, and now he has the 27.5 and running it at the same kind of World Cup setup. Obviously different tuning, but same kind of setup initially.
So why 26 to 27.5?
It's faster. Everyone's kind of saying, oh, it doesn't make too much difference, but we tested it and it was 2 to 3 seconds faster on a 2-minute track on average. So.
Woo! So look out, competition. Marcelo won last year, and apparently he's on a faster bike this year. We'll see if it holds as he tries to get the 2014 title in the Garbanzo downhill.
Thanks, Jackie and Paul from Giant. Tristan, anything surprise you on that setup that Marcelo's rocking?
Well, I got to chat to Paul actually before Jackie got to chat to him, and he was just saying that really the biggest difference that Marcelo's run is just a dropper post. He's run the same suspension that he normally runs at a World Cup, maybe a couple clicks here and there different, but not a ton of change. But I mean, it's a brand new flagship bike that Giant's been working on for the last 2 years. So bigger wheels, different chassis, a carbon fiber frame, a lot lighter. It looks like a rocket ship, if you ask me, a carbon fiber spaceship.
Is that what you think that Marcelo should be riding out there, Si? What was your thoughts?
You know, I had a little sit on that bike earlier myself. I know Danny Hart's riding the medium. They were prototypes. These are the brand new ones. These bikes are actually going to be available, production models, at some point in early 2015. So Marcelo's riding the large size one. So the longer the wheelbase on the bike, it's 27.5-inch wheels, so there's a bit more room in the cockpit, a little bit more stable. Yeah. So definitely on a long course like this, a perfect setup today.
So Paul from Giant talking about Marcelo's bike, Jackie talking about Marcelo's bike, Tristan talking about Marcelo's bike, Cy talking about Marcelo's bike, but let's hear from Marcelo himself talking about his bike. Take a look.
I have to say that I'm really loving it, liking it, enjoying it. Like, I was definitely thinking from like yesterday and today that I've been riding Garbo, how big of a difference it was, like comparing it to the 26-inch. Like, I feel that I can just go through all the rough stuff that is up there, like, because there are some parts that you can barely pedal. Like, you need to kind of pump through it, and with the big wheels, like, I felt that it was like a good advantage, a big, like, good difference.
And Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas talking about his setup, and of course last year's defending champ. All right, Cy, time to set you up on this one. What are the keys to this competition out here coming down to the Garbo DH, man?
You know, the keys that you look for is, you know, self-preservation. When you actually ride in this track, you know, it's not a 100-meter race. It really is a marathon out there, you know, 12 to 13 minutes. So self-preservation, so don't blow yourself out the start line. You know, this is possibly the longest and most brutal downhill race in the world. So you're going to need arms and hands of a gorilla. Anybody that's got those will do very well. Know the trail, you know. Anyone out there with a photographic memory should apply to enter this race, because even the most seasoned Garbanzo downhill racer, you know, when the red mist descends and the lungs, you know, are beating away, you are going to be really struggling to remember exactly where you're going. And, you know, the cruel one really is here is the mechanicals. There will be mechanicals. there won't just be front punctures or rear punctures. There will be riders there suffering from double punctures. You know, that's how brutal this course actually is. So, you know, that's going to be, I think, the #1 failure factor at this event, at this race today. So, you know, just be careful as well. Those rear derailleurs, the gear cable snapping, getting yourself stuck in 9th, 10th gear, you're going to struggle.
So mechanicals, Tristan, you really, how do you prepare yourself for mechanicals? Or can you, or it's just something you're stuck with?
Well, I mean, I think there's a variety of things. I mean, you can run your downhill tubes. You could be running a tubeless setup. I mean, the mechanic goes over the bike tooth and nail, making sure, you know, fresh shifter cable in the back, making sure it's got a good hanger on it. But at the end of the day, a lot of mechanicals are operator error. You run into something you shouldn't run into, that's going to tear a derailleur off. You run into a rock, that's going to give you a pinch flat.
So operator error, can you explain that to somebody who doesn't really get maybe what the operator error is? How do you make mistakes and cause a mechanical?
Well, you've got yourself a 12-minute plus downhill course. Like Sai said, you know, you're going to be pretty gassed, and that's how mistakes happen. All of a sudden, one false move, you don't pump that one section. Maybe you overshoot a section because you going a little bit faster than you did in practice, and next thing you know, you're going into where you didn't want to go into.
Well, the pro men are on course right now for your Garbo DH, day #5 here at Crankworx. And we come back, we bring in the pro men across the line. Stay with us, day 5, it's Crankworx.
If the country is wild, get a 4x4. If the country is big, get a 9-speed transmission and 44 miles per gallon. If the country is rugged, get comfortable with full-grain Napa leather and technology to keep you on the right path. And if the country is Canada, get a Jeep Cherokee. Ajax 2014 Canadian Utility Vehicle of the Year.
The weekend's here and we're ready to roll. We kick it off and snag these new Bud Light Quickies. These slim cans get cold fast, then we head straight to the beach. When we're ready, they're nice and frosty. Watch the sunset by the fire and we break out the tunes. As the night cools down, things really heat up. Next day, we head to Dave's cottage, pop some quickies in the cooler, they get icy in no time. The games begin and TJ busts out a jig. Someone shimmies, someone shakes. We dance like nobody's watching, but everybody is. Summer's here and these little quickies get cold fast. Perfect for Bud Light living.
The Garbo DH, 11 years of the Garbo, grueling, dusty, painful, and fun. That's what a lot of the riders call it. Over 7 kilometers downhill madness going on for you from the U.S. 3,400 feet is what we're talking about vertical. I think our first competitor here, 203, plate 203, Jordan Sheck out of San Diego.
Doing it for Nolly Bicycles, Shred Optics.
Oh, wait, is this last name? Was Shea Jordan? What?
So Shea Jordan coming down right now.
Yeah, Shea Jordan, he's on course now. The Nolly Shred Optics rider is going to be outside the 14-minute barrier, so it's off that winning time of last year. Let me just remind you of that, 12 minutes, 28 seconds. That is certainly going to be the time to beat.
So in that time across, that's going to be a 14:11 into that 4th spot for Shea Jordan.
You know, that's going to be interesting to see. If Claire Buchar went 17 seconds faster, will we see Marcelo go anywhere close to 20 seconds? You know, will everyone ever beat that 12-minute barrier? Now, that is a barrier.
What was Marcelo's last year? Do you have his winning time?
12 minutes, 28 seconds.
So 12:28. Do you guys think that can be beat this year?
I definitely think it can be beat. I mean, Marcelo's been on the gas all year long at the World Cups. Hasn't had the greatest of luck, but he's extremely hungry for a result. And this is the kind of thing going into the last World Cup next weekend. This could be something that really jumpstarts his end of the season before World Champs.
Well, Cameron Portois right there going to check in with a 13:48 into 2nd place. For Cameron Portois, we got Miranda Wallace from Brazil, the #1 spot. Cam Portois in 2nd, and Alvaro Hidalgo in that 3rd spot. That's your 1, 2, 3. 72 pro men representing out here today.
You know, talking about last year's time, I think with perfect weather conditions, you know, it had rained, say, all through the evening last night, and today it dried up, but we're still nice and tacky, and those berms are in good condition. There were no braking bumps. I think a time of sub-12 could go down in the history books.
Whoa. Are you walking the plank right now and going below 12?
I gotta call you out on this.
No,
it is
wait,
dry and dusty up there. There's not
guys hate each
moisture.
other.
There's braking bumps. You got to go up there. There's nothing but braking bumps. I think it's possible it's going to go quicker, but under 12. Sorry, that's 20 plus seconds.
Listen, Tristan, listen to what I'm saying. If it rained last night and that course was in perfect condition, those berms were looking good, they'd fix some of those braking bumps. I tell you, I'm pretty sure within 2 or 3 years on a good day, with the way the suspension technology and the riders are going, they're getting faster. That hill is not getting smaller, Tristan. I can tell you that now.
You know what? If we did get the paving machine out and we did make it perfect, we could have a velodrome race and the time would go under 12 minutes. But this is Garbanzo DH. It's not getting easier. It's not getting smoother. And it isn't perfect hero dirt.
But Tristan, you were up there and you said there's a little bit of wet stuff that happened up top, right?
It was raining earlier
Not
this
a lot.
morning. This is around 10 a.m. today. So there were some kind of wet spots. But again, though, it didn't really penetrate too much through the forest floor. So any of that, the bike park dries out. If you've been here, it can rain hard overnight. And by about lunchtime the next day, there's not a puddle to be found unless you're right up top there. And then it's rained for more than a couple days. So
in the
Day Lake today, I'm not calling you out here, Si. I'm just saying.
I think you
if it's in a perfect condition, yes, it's perfect conditions.
You were calling him out though. Don't backtrack this.
I'm not backtracking.
I like this.
I misunderstood there when he was saying that had it been smooth, had it been perfect hero dirt. You called us going, can it go under 12?
Yeah.
Not today.
I like this though, but I like this between you two. I like when you guys kind of duke it out a little bit.
Let's get you in though. Let's bring you in. Let's bring you into this. What do you think? What do you think, Brad?
You know what?
You've been here for a long time. What is going to happen?
Seeing what Claire did and how she improved dramatically on her time from last year, I think that Marcelo's time of 12:28 last year, I think we might see maybe 15 seconds shaved off that one. So maybe 12:10 or something like that.
Thing is though, Claire didn't beat Emmeline's time. Claire's time went faster, but the course record did not go faster in our women's.
The course record did not, and maybe just because she's the local, she's riding these trails, she's teaching kids all over this mountain, so she knows it like the back of her hand.
Exactly.
And she slept in her own bed.
Nothing wrong with sleeping in your own bed.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's time to take you through what this course is all about here in your Garbo DH. It is time for your GoPro course preview. Take a look at this right here. 11 years of Garbo is your course preview, courtesy of GoPro. When they gave me like a 15.
Hi guys, this is Marcelo, and this is the GoPro course preview for the Garbanzo DH. See you later. Take care and enjoy.
Yeah,
right,
Marcelo starting off at the very top up top there. And again, coming in, it was a bright sunny day when we did the course preview the other day. So again, hard to adjust on the light, but consistent light conditions today, but so rough up there. The conditions though are the exact same as we're seeing on the video right now. Extremely loose, talcum powder through everything. A lot of big errant rocks. Again though, you're picking up a lot of speed now, coming back into the woods, jumping through here. All these rocks, so you can see Marcelo taking the high line there, trying to keep it as straight as he can up and over those roots. You catch one of those the wrong way and things are gonna get bad. So now we're in the lower part of In Deep. It's a huge geo, hard left berm there, trying to keep the bike going. You're zigging and zagging down here. You're gonna shut it down a little bit, but I'm sure Marcelo though, going faster than ever down through this rock chute. Used to go up and over the left, now just a paved walkway down through that area. Man, things have changed since the Garbanzo DH trail first started way back in the day. And then now down into Lower Duffman, you can see though lots of big roots just kind of dangling out in the air there. Pretty easy to get cross-rutted. If your front tire goes on one, your back tire goes on the other. And now you're down the section. Marcelo though, just jumping through those berms, not having any issue. And down into the lower part of World Cup single track. Right now, this is where endurance is gonna pay off. If you can put down the horsepower, keep your feet in the pedals. Marcelo there just railing down through these lower parts of the corners. You know he's hungry for it. He won it last year. This is something that really jumpstart at the end of his season, and nothing like another win. And then boom, GLC drop right down here, and that's where you guys are gonna see him finish later on today.
And that's your course preview right there, courtesy of Marcelo right there. Okay, but also the weather playing a little different now. When we were looking at the course preview, it was bluebirds out there. You're getting shadows. It's gray today. How does that differ from what they're riding in the bluebird conditions?
Good consistent light conditions. You're not getting the laser light as you're going through there. So a lot of guys probably be just sticking with the clear lens rather than having to go do a mirrored lens. Just makes it a lot easier though. The thing is the dust is gonna be an issue. If you start catching the guy ahead of you, they're going off on 1 minute intervals. Again, the pros at the very end, they'll get 2 minutes. If there's no wind, there's a bit of dust, and that can cause quite a bit of issues there. But the good thing about when you see a bit of dust in there, it means the guy you're chasing is not that far ahead, and that's extra motivation to start really putting down the pedal, power through the pedals, and try and catch your leading person.
And welcome everybody out here. 11 years of Garbo, the Garbo DH going on for you. Day number 5 here, Crankworx. Cy Payton, Tristan Merrick, Brad J up in the booth. Calling the axe for you is the pro man coming across right now. Time to beat Lucas Eduardo Alves de Bomba from Brazil, 13:25.42. That's like 6 names in one. How does that guy get that one? And you got Miranda Wallace in that second spot, 13:34. So we're seeing the guys right now. The first pro's out, 13:25, but things are going to change.
Brazil 1, 2, 3 right now. So it's pretty cool to see. And then Cam Porteous all the way from Vancouver, doing it for Dunbar Cycles, sitting in that 4th.
You know, we should see the last man out. We said Marcelo, we saw there early. He should be down. He leaves the top around about 3 minutes past 6. We should see him about 6:15. I tell you what, Brad J.
Tell me.
He had a ringer in his team this morning. Do you know who he was riding with?
Who was he riding with?
A little friend of yours you might have heard of, a guy called Travis Pastrana.
Travis Pastrana riding out here. Wow.
So yeah,
no engine?
We saw him. We saw Needling, Andrew Needling, Danny Hart, and then just a guy behind him with the Red Bull helmet. And I thought, who's that guy there?
Who's that guy? Was he doing good? How did Travis look on the bike?
Well, he was riding past me on the flat, so he
looked good then.
He looked pretty pinned, to be fair.
He looked fast. How was his bike set up, Si?
Yeah.
I didn't quite catch too much, but yeah, he was in the lineup, so...
he looked fast because he had that Red Bull helmet on. That's why he looked fast, right?
He was flying.
So still right now, your fastest time so far for the pro men, 13:25.42. Lucas Eduardo Alves de Bomba from Brazil. As Tristan was saying, Brazil 1, 2, 3 right now.
Our next German rider coming into view, though, off the GLC Anton, having a flat rear tire, though. Got to give this guy a high five for perseverance, making it all the way down with that flat tire. Who knows if it was right at the end there, down through monkey hands. That's one thing is a big issue. The last little bit of monkey hands there's some big, sharp rocks. And as much as this is one of the longer races in the world, times, though, still extremely tight at the end of the day. You get a flat tire that close to the finish line, that can spell the end of your day and get you knocked off the podium. It's not a huge win margin. As we saw in the Enduro World Series the other day, 2.5 seconds between first and second after 51 minutes of racing.
That's amazing right there. That's one stuck with me the whole entire night. To race that long, an hour of racing, and to be that close, that's kind of a rare thing, isn't it?
I mean, in the Enduro World Series, not so much. That's the most alarming thing, I think, is just how close the racing is. I mean, Curtis Keene in 3rd place, back only 11 seconds. I know he was feeling pretty good about that. To only be 11 seconds back over 51 minutes, you break that down, it could be a pedal stroke here and there over the course of the whole day.
And that was his first podium, I think, in Enduro history for him right there, wasn't it?
100%. Yeah. He did very, very well on that race. I know he's pretty stoked. Cool thing is he came across the finish line and gave props to all the amateurs that went out there and did battle on Sunday before, really owning it himself. He just said, props to the working man that goes to the office Monday to Friday that was out here doing battle with me on Sunday.
Did you hear that? Did you hear when Curtis Keene said that on the podium?
When he said about working 9 to 5, that kind of went over my head a little bit, I'm afraid. But,
yeah, of course that's going to go over your head there, Si. But what he meant by it was basically all the amateurs are racing the exact same course that all the pros are racing, and these guys have normal jobs, and they're out here doing the same thing and competing out there and still trying to get on the podium.
Yeah, those guys really are the weekend warriors. And I was speaking to Cedric Gracia, and he took on board, he calculated, during the whole day that he was out for 8 hours, he took on 8 liters of water.
That's 8 liters.
8 liters, not beer, water.
Sorry, thank you for comparing it correctly, because the beer thing.
That's Brad's measuring unit, beer to water ratio.
I do it by 12 ounces or a pint is what we do. So Samuel Bidden now from Switzerland. Hey, if you're checking us out on social media, make sure you hashtag everything Crankworx. And if you're checking out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that's @Crankworx. And if you're kicking it home and you got your scene, take a picture, post it up on Instagram of you sitting at your computer watching it, man. We'd like to see it. And you can do that, hashtag it Crankworx or @Crankworx.
Right, next rider in 174, Samuel's been in there, the Swiss rider. He goes 9th place, 14 minutes, 7 seconds for the rider there. And what no doubt will be the toughest race of his life so far.
100%. Just looking, though, he's got a bit of dust on him. hard one on a day like today. Heavy breathing. You need to spin the legs out afterwards to just be giving as much as you can. And the one thing that really gets riders is on the lower mountain when you're in the fit zone is the golden triangle sprint. You come out of Duff, man. It's a slight uphill. As we saw with Marcelo, he's running a reverb dropper post there specifically for that one area. So you can put the seat post up and put down some power. But as you see the Jeep leaderboard there, still Brazil 1 and 3, 4 right now. So 3 out of 4 spots.
Yeah, you got Anton Buchar who jumped in that second spot. Just 6.84 off that top time of Lucas Eduardo Alves de Bomba, the longest name in the history of mountain biking in that top spot. I will bring you more of the pros across the line for you here. It's your Garbo DH, 11 years of Garbo here at Crankworx Whistler, and we're back with more of the pros as they cross the finish line. When we come back, stick around. And back to day 5 here of Crankworx. One of our riders coming across right now. Still that time to beat is a 13:25. Last year's top time, Marcelo Gutierrez with a 12:28 last year. This is Victor Smith taking away at 13:42, some change.
Yeah, running in the Royal Race Kit there, the American rider. He's going to be crossing the line. It's going to be close. Just under the 14-minute barrier for him. Victor Smith goes 13:54, 6th place for the American.
And 72 pro men out here dropping in on this Garbo DH course as we make our way through them. And Tristan, now of course, you've been all over the place. They get you working early, and you were earlier up on the hill and get us a report from the start. This is Tristan talking about what's going on from the start. Check it out.
The wait is over. We are up here. The legendary Garbanzo DH downhill is taking place today. What lays behind me and what lays ahead for all of our athletes is 3,400 vertical feet of descent, 7 kilometers of Whistler Bike Park Trail, ranging from everything up in the Garbanzo zone as they weave their way down into the Fitzsimmons zone. We've got double track. We've got extremely dry, loose, single track conditions. We haven't seen rain in a while. But of course, with Garbo DH, that only means one thing. It's probably going to be raining, and it's already started, as you can see right now. Meaning conditions are going to get even more tricky for our athletes. Not only is it dusty and blown out with big rocks, we've got a bit of wetness on top of that, so it's going to make things slick and very, very unpredictable. The world's best are here to play today. Who's going to take the win? We'll just have to wait and see what happens later on tonight when everything unfolds.
Well, thanks, Tristan.
Hey, I'm back down here.
How'd you do that? Did you just transport yourself?
Yeah, I just clicked my heels 3 times. There's no place like home.
Yeah,
there's no place like home. And I guess home is the announcing booth with you, Brad, and Cy.
Yeah, I guess so, huh? How exciting do you get, though, Tristan, when it gets towards Crankworx time? I mean, you live here year-round, and when you're about a month outside of Crankworx, are you getting giddy? Are you just waiting for it? Where are you at with that?
I mean, I think it's something that everybody in town looks forward to. I guess for me specifically, I love getting to come up here and announce with you guys. Would have loved to have raced the Enduro World Series. I think I may have kind of volunteered to retire the other day, and now I'm just going to be a straight-up announcer with you guys. It's a cool thing to have all my friends come to town. You meet so many new people. That's probably the coolest thing with mountain biking, racing in general. There's no barriers. It's not like a professional sport where the athletes are kept behind big locked closed doors. You can cruise by. You can get autographs with them in the pits. You can go ride the chairlift with them. It's Crankworx is one of a kind, and I think that's why I love mountain biking. Everybody's so open. Everybody's so friendly. And as Cy said, there's a guy with a 199 jersey cruising around, and he's one of the world's top action sport athletes, and he's here hanging out with us this week.
It's funny because we saw Ronnie Renner. He was last year. Ronnie Renner was out here, freestyle motocross rider. Now we got Travis Pastrana out here taking in. This shows you just how big Crankworx is.
100%. I mean, as far as I know, Renner's actually going to be here later this week, or maybe he is right now. I know he's over riding the Coast Gravity Park on the weekend. They're checking things out. So as far as I know, he's coming here. I mean, this is a guy who wins X Games step up each and every year.
So many years in a row.
And now he's just, wants to come out, hang out with his son, and take part in this thing we like to call Crankworx. So for somebody that lives here year in, year out, I love it.
Indeed, man. You're very fortunate. My wife and I were riding around yesterday with the kids. Let's take a look at this course animation here. And Cy could talk us through a little bit of this Garbanzo DH. What a big course this is.
Almost 7 kilometers long. It takes in sort of almost 10 famous sections, famous parts of the courses, things like Original Sin, Dave Murray Flats, Blue Velvet, In Deep, No Joke, Duffman, Golden Triangle, World Cup single track, Ho Chi Minh, Longhorn, and I think right down the bottom there, Monkey Hands. It really is an absolute epic of a course. You just don't get better than this, Brad.
Well, the Garbanzo, 11 years of the Garbo. Chris Ravina now from the U.S., 14:25. And counting still the top time so far, 13:25, and that's just about 8 seconds or so faster or slower than last year's winning time. So maybe we will see that dip down in the low 12s or even like the unbelievable in the 11 mark.
Well, maybe one day. Chris Ravina there running that classic checkered Troy Lee kit. He goes in 11th place, but quick and hot on his heels, coming right behind him there.
And Antonio Ovalle in the 11th spot, 14:01.78. The Chilean rider, Gustavo Ortiz, now looking like a decent time, trying to beat that 13:25 that Lucas has.
I think that's going to be probably one of the cool things, Brad, just to touch on what we were just talking about, is how many people get to come to town, and all the Chileans and Spaniards and Argentinians that come out here year after year just to take place and compete in this thing called Crankworx, and their energy is unmatched, and their enthusiasm of just how stoked they are. They're here to race, but just in terms of seeing them ride the bike park before and after Crankworx, they are pumped. They're giving each other high fives. They're out from when the chair cracks at 10 a.m. until it shuts down at 8 p.m.
And their energy in the nightlife side of things is quite well, too, because these guys go big in the evening time, too.
There is no shutting down for them. They're here, they are large and in charge, and they roll on a big pack. And I just think, their enthusiasm, if you ever get a chance to go do some runs with them, they're hooting and they're hollering. You usually can't understand what they're saying in there.
No, you can't.
But you're having a blast, and I think that's the biggest thing. Anytime that you're on two wheels and you're stoked, that's exactly what you want.
But Cy, it's got to be tough with the nightlife side of things. I mean, these guys are out here, they're coming out here, they're racers, they want to have a good time, but then they go out. How do you keep your game face on? How do you keep your stick on the ice and just focus on what you got to do?
Brad J, I am not the person to speak to about being in one piece in the morning. Yesterday I had a great day. It was the day off for us.
Yeah.
What they call a dark day. There was no actual live racing going on. We went up on my favorite track, which is Dirt Merchant. Up there was Danny Hart, Sam Pilgrim, Sam Reynolds. And this is the great thing about Whistler. You can be up on the tracks, start the course, and all of a sudden you've got some of the top 10, top 20 riders in the world coming past you. You can hang on to the back of them, come down the course.
Hang on to the back.
We arranged to meet him for dinner, and oh my goodness, that was chaos.
So wait a minute, Danny Hart, right?
Yeah, Danny Hart, he went in front of me.
But you've actually beat Danny Hart back in the day, right? Isn't that? You and I were just talking about this the other day. You've actually beat Danny Hart before. I think he was like 5 when you beat him.
You know what? If you go to a website called Roots and Lorraine, go and check that out. You can put Danny Hart in versus Simon Payton. I think I had him till about 2005.
How old was he when he started beating you?
Well, he started beating me when he got a bit taller than me, so probably when he was about 13.
13, he started losing to him. How much older are you than Danny Hart?
Danny Hart's 22. I'm 28, so I'm 6 years older than him.
Yeah, so you had him for a little while. I swear he was probably beating him earlier than that. I think Tristan, he was beating Cy by the time he was 8.
Well, we're talking about kids here and Cy beating up on kids. There actually was racing yesterday. There was Kidsworks, brand new for this year.
Nice.
And the final event of Kidsworks took place yesterday, the Beeline race, and they were racing all the way from the about halfway down Beeline down through the Family Cross. I think we had close to about 100 competitors yesterday. So very cool. We had 3 different age categories, 7 to 9, 10 to 12, and then 13 to 15. So awesome to see Crankworx not just making sure the adults are included and that the kids can watch, but we're having kids races now, and it was 4 days of jam-packed action.
You know what, I also put there as well, I saw the kids coming through on these little 20-inch full suspension mountain bikes, running the Maxxis Max Daddy tires, you know. They're not the best tyres for on this kind of surface. They're more of a BMX tyre. I tell you, and these little rippers, they were shredding around those corners. It was fantastic to see, and something we should see all around the world. And Whistler, again, leading the sport.
And you know what? You talk about Crankworx Whistler being, you know, it's world-class racing going on, slope style with Red Bull Joyride, but there really is a kids element to it. The girls, the women's works, and all that. It's truly family style as well.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we're up here right now. Just look down at the lift line and have a look around. There's kids nonstop. The fact that all these kids yesterday, they're fully protected up, and they're having a blast. They're high-fiving each other. I had the opportunity to get to announce their race, and it's just so cool to see. I mean, I wasn't riding the Whistler Bike Park at that age, and I mean, just the technology's there for these kids. Their parents there now are just like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go downhill and I'm gonna take you with me, and we're gonna go check out Crankworx. So there's kids from Pennsylvania, all over the states, who came here specifically to compete at Kidsworks.
So you see plate number 142. I think that's the plate number we just saw coming down. 142.
And thanks for joining. They're on the foes. He was a re-entry, so I haven't got his name in front of me, so that's my mistake, but we'll see whether we can get a time up for him later on, which I'm sure we will. You see a lot of the riders now running the GoPro cameras on inside of the peak there. Stops a lot of the mud flicking up. Doesn't really affect the visibility, but you know he's going to take that one home. Let's give him a wave. And I'm sure we'll be putting that up online. Make sure he gets the old social media going. Hashtag Crankworx, @Crankworx. And if you want to contact me, probably give me some abuse, no doubt, @British Downhill. That'll be me, Cy Payton.
@British Downhill. Make sure you get it right, @British Downhill. Want to make sure they send you some props out there. All right. Let's check in with Jackie Montgomery standing by with our current leader right now. Jackie, take it away.
Thank you. Well, Lucas is still sitting here in the hot seat. He's from Brazil, and unfortunately, my Portuguese just isn't quite up to par, so we have a translator. So I'm just curious, what's going through Lucas's mind right now as he's watching rider after rider? He can be knocked out of this hot seat any second now.
O que está passando pela tua cabeça agora, o pessoal descendo e tu ainda mantendo a posição aqui no hot seat?
Passa muita coisa, é muito difícil nós brasileiros chegar aqui e fazer um tempo desse. Eu vim um pouco triste do brasileiro, acabei caindo no nosso campeonato e agora estou com outra cabeça. Infelizmente caí um tombo agora, mas na final, mas a descida foi boa, estou bem contente. Baixei 5 segundos do meu ano anterior, que ganhei na Júnior. E vamos ver, a galera aqui anda forte, o buraco é bem embaixo. E é isso aí, valeu!
All right, that's it. No, we're good. You got all that?
Yeah, he says a lot of things that's going through his mind right now. It's hard to come here, such a long course. But he didn't do very well at the Nationals back home. So he's really feeling really good now, and he hopes he can maintain the position here. He did really good at Juniors last year here at Garbo. He won. So he did 5 seconds faster this year. So he's very confident right now.
All right, well, Lucas is currently sitting with a 13.25. We'll see if it holds. Guys, back up to you.
Obrigado, obrigado. All right, that's the one word I know. I think to the bone, I think another one I can drop some Brazil on there. Some Portuguese. Day 5 here at Crankworx, Garbo DH. Right now going on, and Lucas, who we just heard from right there, 13:25.42. That is his time, and that's the best time so far. The pro men, as we just getting close to about our halfway mark here, Si.
Yeah, we're getting close, you know, and just talking about the Brazilian rider down there, we've got over 15 nationalities in here, you know, not just from Europe, which we see quite a lot of riders coming over, but also from South America, Australia, New Zealand as well, making the big trip over. And a lot of these riders, you know, tend to stay here not just for the week for Crankworx, but really make the whole summer of it and try and stay here for 2 or 3 months and try and live the dream.
And Jonathan Buchar now with a 13:29. So John Buchar into the second spot with a 13:29. Lucas Eduardo Alves de Bomba from Brazil, 13:25.42. Your current leader, Antoine Buchar from Germany in third, a 13:32 for him.
So we're definitely seeing the times starting to drop here. There's still some big, heavy hitters. And I think, yeah, the time is just going to continue to drop. Not looking like we're having any weather issues or anything like that. So I got to ask you, who's your pick today? We know you're a bench racer through and through. Who is your pick?
You know,
Let's just get into it right before we get further down. Who's your pick?
Who's your pick,
Well, you know what? I'm going to say Marcelo. I mean, obviously,
You're
he's the
gonna go
course
with it.
favorite at the moment. I'm sure he's had a few tips off our friend Travis Pastrana. He's running that new bike. I know he's feeling comfortable on that. Last year, we saw him do a time of 12 minutes 28. Write this one down, Brad. 12:22.
12:22. I'm writing it down right now.
12:22. Write that down. That is going to be the winning time today, 12:22.
All right, I'm going to ask the people on social media right there. You guys pipe in, tell us what you think, and hashtag it at Crankworx, hashtag Crankworx, or at Crankworx on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. What time do you think? Last year's winning time, Marcelo put up a 12:28, and Si's calling a 12:22. Hey, for you people here in Whistler, tonight the GoPro Dirt Diaries Whistler Olympic Plaza is a work of fundraiser as well. DJ Brucey Bruce will be at the Longhorn, but GoPro Dirt Diaries is going to kick off at 8:30. 8:30, please join us, all you locals out here at Whistler Olympic Plaza, 8:30 for the GoPro Dirt Diaries. You definitely don't want to miss out. GoPro really changing the game when it comes to viewing action sports, when it comes to free riding or just downhill racing in general.
Oh, 100%. As you can see, a lot of our competitors today coming down with the GoPro on their helmet, recording their run. It's a huge piece for training, a good piece to just show your friends and family what you're up to. And tonight's Dirt Diaries, one of the great events here at Crankworx, something that's new in the past couple of years. It will not disappoint. So I know that's going to go off. And actually, there's going to be a screening tonight for a Leo Zuckerman film called Elixir, which actually is documenting Nick Geddes and his battle with leukemia over the last few years of getting him back. So that's something you definitely do not want to miss. That'll be premiering tonight.
Is that going to be after GoPro Dirt Diaries?
I'm not entirely sure when it'll be. I think it might be during maybe an intermission or while the judges are trying to figure things out. But, I mean, you want to go see the GoPro Dirt Diaries regardless, but an added bonus is the premiere of this film tonight, which is going to go over kind of the ups and downs of the last few years for Nick Geddes and his battle. And, I mean, he's been racing the Enduro World Series all year long this year. He's back up to full health, and he's definitely going for the battling out there.
And if you haven't follow Nick Geddes. You can follow him on Instagram. You can follow him on Twitter. I've followed him when he was going through all of his battle with leukemia, and just what an amazing kid out of Squamish too, and he's doing big things in a big way. And the guy came back from what he had to deal with. Just big props up to Nick Geddes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's not to jump in. He is a Whistler boy. I know it was getting said Squamish the other night, but he was born in North Van and he's lived in Whistler since a wee lad. So this is where he gets to call home, and it's no better place to see him. So it's awesome to see him back up to full health and competing and everything. So
and he got a brother, Xander, too, as well. Xander, we saw actually competing in Speed and Style. Yeah,
Speed and Style, making it through the first round there of that night show. We'll see him later on this week in terms of A-Line, the dual slalom, and then, of course, on the final day, the Rough and Raw Canadian Open Downhill.
That's always a fun one to end with, right?
It's a good way to kind of finish up a big week. I know once that race is done, I'm like, okay, let's just chill out. I'm ready to go home and sleep in my own bed.
It's crazy because you got Red Bull Joyride, which is Saturday night, and after that's over, you almost feel like maybe things are done, but you come out here on Sunday and people are out here in full force for that.
Oh, 100%. And it's hard to, hard to keep your stick on the ice, as you were calling to Cy earlier on there. It's a big week.
I don't
it's
think
very
you got
easy
that.
to get preoccupied. I mean, stick on the ice. Have you ever had ice skates on, Cy? Have you ever
Cy, have you
skated
ice
around?
skated ever?
No, ice skates and me don't mix. Have you ever seen Bambi on ice?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that's where they got their inspiration from.
Richard Cruiser from Australia, 17th place, 14:08, 6-1 for Richard right there for the Aussie. Pro men on course for you right now. Your Garbo DH. And Felix Klee, your new leader, 13:22.28. The Swiss rider, Felix Klee, 13:22.28.
Felix putting a nice scrub over the final GLC drop there. That thing's been reworked this year. Gone are the days of massive, massive flat landings, tomahawking, like Camille Cavalier did way, way, way many years ago.
So is you saying, are there less crashes on that now? Is that why they've done that for a safety feature?
Are we talking, wait, are we
We're talking
about
GLC drop.
Yeah,
and
GLC
yeah,
drop.
it's a combination of things, making it safer for the riders, making it safer. Your speeds, just the general speed that people ride at in the bike park has increased over the years. That now, the way they've done it, it's less pop, a longer kind of landing makes it a lot better for you. That being said, that middle GLC drop, that thing isn't what it isn't what it used to be.
That would be the bailout line, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, you'd think the second one would be the easier one, but actually quite a bit more difficult. We've got ourselves a smoking time going right now.
Okay, 80s, Jacques. Rear flat, pedaling across the time is going to be a 13:25.35 with the flat into second place. Put your hands together. Now, probably got that flat towards the bottom, right? Is that what you're
100%,
thinking? Yeah.
100%. I was just going to say I'm going to take a stab in the dark. That would be down through monkey hands. You drop into that section. It's a big, long, sweeping right. It's hidden by the trees, and all of a sudden you come around. If you're off the line, there's this big diagonal off-camber rock section with nothing but shark teeth the whole way along it. You can jump through, but if you miss time one of those jumps, guaranteed flat, and then you've got a hard left to hard right after that. It's very easy to get a flat tire down there. We've seen that happen in years past where riders are on a smoker. We've seen their split time coming into that, and then it's just they're devastated. That's the last bit of track, and that's where they get their flat tire.
So you were telling me earlier, Tristan, that now I could possibly roll in on the GLC now that they've fixed it a little bit.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen your riding skills since a certain pump track challenge a few years ago where maybe there was some chest thumping, some heavy breathing in the start gate. There was a challenge from a one American towards a British four-cross champion.
That was the
going
stupidest.
back and forth there. So
that was probably one of the stupidest things I've done.
the best is we can relive that moment all the time if we ever want to go on crankworx.com for a replay, or I'm sure it's on a YouTube video.
Oh, that's just
You know what? If I give our producer some cash, I'm sure he is going to show that. when
We'll
the
talk
pump
about
track's
that in
on.
a sec, Si. All right. Well, a guy that you're going to be seeing competing up on Saturday for the Red Bull Joyride, Brett Reeder, is standing by down below right now with Jackie. Jackie?
Thank you so much, Brad J. As you just mentioned, Brett Reeder competing in the big show, the Red Bull Joyride, this Saturday. Now, Brett, you missed out on last year's competition because you had a compression fracture in your back. How much are you looking forward to competing this Saturday?
Yeah, it feels awesome to be back healthy this year, and I can't wait for Saturday.
Now, you say healthy, but just before we went on, we were taking a look at all these bumps and bruises that you have all over right now. How was practice today?
It went good for all the riders. It was the first course that we all made it down, the first few tries, and I took a fall on the front flip, but minor.
Now, everyone looks forward to this event. Some of the best, all the best slopestyle riders in the world come out for this event. Just kind of walk us through this course and some of the features they have this year.
Yeah, they made it a lot more simple. They worked out the bumps and put in better features, made everything a little bit better in size for doing better tricks. Overall, it's probably the best course that we've ever had here.
Well, sounds promising. A lot of people looking forward to Saturday, of course. Now, it has been very dry out here in Whistler, not a lot of rainfall, some earlier today. So how is that affecting the course for you guys?
It made it a little better today. It was super dry earlier on, but the rainfall from this morning definitely helped out. Hopefully we can get a little more before Saturday.
All right, well, Brett Reeder competing in the Red Bull Joyride this Saturday. Of course, that's the big event that everyone's looking forward to, so make sure you come out on Saturday to check it out. Guys, back up to you.
Thank you so much, Jackie, catching up with Brett Reeder, man. Definitely one of my favorite slopestyle riders out there. We'll be seeing him compete on Saturday Red Bull Joyride. Good to have him back.
Exactly. He was on fire. I saw him a couple weeks ago in Quebec City at the last event that he was competing at, and he's a tactician. That kid just took apart the course with surgical precision, just doing some big tricks. You're watching him cruise down, having fun. Other guys were having a bit of a struggle when learning the course. Pretty amazing what he can do, and I'm stoked to see him healthy, happy, and ready to do battle later in the week.
Well, make sure you join us for the Red Bull Joyride, 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. Going to start on Saturday, Eastern, 7:30, and a 1:30 a.m. as well. So I'll tell you what, Red Bull Joyride, one of the biggest events always that we come out here for. Yes, every other race is awesome. All the other competitions are great, but you know Red Bull Joyride is one of the biggest and baddest events that Crankworx has to offer. And I look forward to seeing Brett Reeder, especially after a big win for him out there. He got a win in Colorado since his injury, so he's coming back. You saw him too in Quebec.
Yeah, it was a blast to get to announce that event and just see what he's doing. He's got some big tricks, and he never seems to struggle or anything like that. So he's coming in guns a-blazing, and of course we've got the local boy Brandon Semenek. He's got some big tricks in the wind. So we didn't get to see the showdown last year. I think maybe this year could be the year we get to see those two face off, big tricks on the same team. What can they do though? That's the big question.
The only thing that's just a tough break is we're not able to see Martin Soderstrom. He's injured this year, so we're not going to see Soderstrom in the mix. That's
100%. 100%. That man, nothing but style. Again, he was riding super smooth there a couple weeks, and just a slip of the pedal, a standard. What's scary is it's a standard textbook trick on the flip whip, and just came around, didn't get his feet underneath him, and
but also there's guys like Anthony Mazzeri who took the Diamond Stop win and legitimately did that in France. He's another guy who could make things happen. Mazzeri is going to be competing out there as well. A new kid that's been showing up, Nikolai Rogatkin, has been doing quite well. He's got some podiums this year, so it's going to be a big time competition Saturday. Please join us for the Red Bull Joyride.
And you know what, Brad, just talking to Brandon, the kid, Semenek, last night, he's going to have to redeem himself. He's under some pressure because he went out in the quarterfinals of the SRAM versus GBB and G1 bike rentals. He lost out there in the quarterfinals, didn't make it through. So he's already had one failure so far here at Crankworx.
Well, we saw you on the mic last night there, Superfly Cy Patton, breaking it down during the arm wrestling. You were in fine form last night.
Cy can announce anything. He announced arm wrestling yesterday. That's pretty awesome.
Weighing into the red corner with 125 pounds.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Vicente Diaz now, the Chilean rider making his way down. Vicente here coming down towards the bottom section, coming into view, over down to the GLC, airing it down. Some style, gonna come across the line. What's gonna be the time? Vicente with a 15.52.42 for Vicente. And I'll tell you what, Jackie Montgomery, she's been all over the place. She had a chance to go to the Jeeps Rocks and Road course. I'll tell you what, take a look at this. This is how it went down.
We're at the Jeep Rocks and Road Tour, and I'm here with Eamon. He is going to be our tour guide today. Eamon, what is going on around us right now?
Basically a demonstration to show off what our Jeeps are capable of doing off-road. Different attributes of what they can do in different situations, and just what their capabilities are off-road.
What will we be driving today? What's our weapon of choice?
Well, this bad boy is a 2014 Wrangler Sahara Unlimited, and it's basically our four-door Wrangler. And we're going to be taking it over some pretty serious obstacles and bouncing all over the place, and it's going to be fun.
What makes this car so special?
Everything, from the suspension, the geometry, the tires, the engine. I mean, I'll tell you all about it when we're on the course, but it's a pretty special ride. It's definitely the best off-road vehicle we have.
And then now I get the luxury of being your chauffeur for the day. But can anyone do this? Can anyone come out here and drive this course?
Absolutely. You just have to be 18 years or older, and the Jeep does all the work. It really is a lot easier than it looks. You don't need any special training.
Are you ready? Are you nervous to do this?
Absolutely not. Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
There you go.
Okay. Has anyone ever tipped one of these?
Nah.
Do I get a prize if I do?
Yes.
Okay.
You get to keep the Jeep. You just got to flip it back over by yourself.
Sweet. Perfect. All right, that's our ride for the Jeep Rocks and Road Tour in the 2014 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara. It was a beauty, scary at times, but in the end, fun. Get out here and try it out.
I don't know if I would trust Jackie in a brand new Jeep like that, but you know what? All right. So Lewis Buchanan, he chimes in. Crankworx winning time, I reckon, will be for the Garbo will be 12:38 by Marcelo. Hashtag Crankworx. Wish I could be there. Racing in hashtag Garbo DH. Thank you, Lewis Buchanan. You want to address that, Si?
You know what, Lewis Buchanan knows what he's doing. He's from Innerleithen in Scotland. He's a great racer, so yeah, I think he'd do pretty well over here. Mind you saying that, he's probably not used to these dry and dusty conditions being a Scottish person.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like where you're from, right? I noticed that you had a little bit more sun. You had some color to you when you showed up this year. You guys been getting some good weather over there in the UK?
Yeah, we have actually had some nice weather, but I did go on a nice family cruise with the wife and the little
There
one.
you go. You weren't doing the tanning bed, were you?
No, no, no. If you'd have come with me, Brad, you'd have seen me in my bikini, top deck.
No, thank you. That's a visual I do not need right there.
It burns. It
Does
burns.
that just hurt you too, Tristan?
I'm going to have nightmares later on.
Hey, if you want to
thanks.
predict the time, send it in too. Lewis, thank you so much for that. Just hashtag it Crankworx. Right now, Cy was saying 12:22. Last year, Marcel had a 12:28. And I was saying somewhere around a 12:10 is what I was saying. Spencer Graf going to get into 14:02, 19 top 20 for Spencer Graf.
Well, you know what? We're going to find out in about 28 riders' time because we are getting down to the business end of this, the Garbanzo downhill here at Crankworx Whistler. 28 riders to go. Marcelo Gutierrez is going to be the last rider off at 3 minutes past 6, so we should be seeing him around about 6:15 this evening.
All right, well, Tristan, of course, you got to do everything today. You've been all over the place, and you want to talk a little bit of course conditions. Let's check in from earlier stuff that Tristan did about course conditions, course changes. Check it out.
Where I'm standing right now used to be a big right-hand turn down here down the Garbanzo DH downhill. Because this track's been around forever, it's constantly changing and evolving. So you can see over to the right-hand side, it's now a straight shot through here, but there's big roots, big rocks, which are going to play havoc and wreak havoc on wheel sets here today. The riders have to navigate 3,400 vertical feet of descent. The conditions are dry and dusty, making things extremely challenging. But of course, Garbanzo DH, it always rains, it seems, every couple years. And right now we got some light rain falling, meaning these dry, blown-out conditions are going to get even trickier with a bit of rain on those routes. You're going to have to be on your toes, and riders are going to have their bike set up perfect if they want to get to the top step of the box at the end of the day. It's always challenging. We're just going to have to stick around and see if a new course record is set today.
And there is the look at your Jeep leaderboard right there. The Swiss rider Felix Klee with a 13:22.28. The Chilean rider in that second spot, and then Lucas Eduardo Alves de Bamba in the third. We got two riders coming across right now, making their way down the GLC.
So it's Josh Carlson catching the guy ahead of him right now. He's putting down some big pedal strokes. He was 12th in the Enduro World Series on Sunday.
Yeah, that's Jamie Goldman coming through first on that one, and behind him was Josh Carlson riding that brand new Giant Rare. It's the same bike that we saw Marcelo Gutierrez riding before, and Sam Flanagan's just come through there, but Josh Carlson is in the lead with a time of 12:48.
Josh Carlson taking the best time so far for the Aussie, 12:48.18. 12:48.18 for Josh Carlson. That's going to be the new time to beat right now.
Carlson looked like he's frothing a little bit at the mouth there after that big sprint. Again, getting that 12th place on the weekend there, and now coming out on that brand new Giant Glory with a 27.5 there, doing some battle today. So 12:48. Times are getting closer to last year's course record, but still not in touch with that.
You know, Josh Carlson there doing the business. He moved from Australia, moved over here to Whistler to try and get himself a pro contract, and that's exactly what he's did. He's proved himself in the Enduro, and he proved himself in the downhill at the Garbanzo today. So far, he has.
Well, you guys, only about just over 20 more racers to go. Jamie Nickel coming down a 12:57 and counting. Not going to take over that top spot.
Jamie Nickel, one of the Enduro World Series riders the other day, and you can see he's riding the same bike that he did all 51 minutes worth of battling the other day. So he's on the little bike, coming out here doing a little dual sport action.
And the time's going to be for Jamie Nickel, 13:14 into that second place, 13:14.62 for Jamie Nickel. Put your hands together for the Kiwi.
Jamie Nickel having a breakout ride here last year in the Enduro World Series. Things not going as smoothly as he had hoped for last weekend, but again, good to see Josh Carlson hopping, changing hats, going from a little bike to a big bike and sitting in that hot seat with a bit of a margin right now, a bit of a margin.
And you guys talk about Josh Carlson at 12:48, 20 seconds off Marcelo's top time from last year. So let's see how that stacks up with the rest of the competitors that we're getting under the 20 rider mark here to be done. And we'll be I think we're going to check in with Jackie here in just a moment with our current leader, Josh Carlson. Josh, the Aussie with a 12:48.18. Let's send it down to Jackie, standing by with Josh, our current leader. Jackie.
Josh Carlson, our current leader right now. How nerve-wracking is it sitting here knowing that we still have about 20 riders still to go?
Mate, I'm not nervous. I'm stoked. Just getting through that after Sunday was, man, coming along that straight up there, I was just whatever I had left, and I hit that last jump, and I couldn't quite see straight, but whatever, I got it done, and Giant 27.5 Glory did me well, and man, it's definitely kind of nerve-wracking, but it's more exciting than anything. You know, I race enduro, and it's a long downhill, but man, this is one of the gnarliest downhills in the world and longest, so pretty happy to be up here for now. There's some good guys who went before me, and man, there's some smoking hot guys coming down later, so I'll enjoy it while I'm here.
Now, you mentioned Sunday. For those out there that don't know, it was the Canadian Open Enduro, which in total you're racing about 6 or 7 hours. So how did that race prepare you for the Garbanzo downhill, like you said, the longest downhill of the week?
Oh, mate, this was easy. It was only 12 minutes. No, it was definitely different. You know, I was up the top, and I didn't quite know how to get ready. You know, usually we pedal up there and come back down, and we've already got a few hours in the legs, so no, it feels good. It's definitely hard to put one run together, and there's so many corners and so many gnarly bits. So it feels good to come down safe and in one piece and have a good time and enjoy it.
Now, you talked about your Giant bike treating you well today. What sort of bike were you riding? Is it any different than your enduro bike that you had the other day?
Yeah, so I saved my enduro bike a little bit. I was riding a 27.5 carbon Giant Rain. Today I went for the Giant 27.5 Glory, a little bit bigger, a little bit slacker. It's a proper downhill bike because it's a proper downhill track, and it served me well. I think it was the right choice. It definitely helped my body, that's for sure. And yeah, I'm happy to have my team who let me ride it and prepare it for me, so happy days.
Well, after some long days of racing, it's great to see you in such high spirits. Guys, we'll send it up to you.
Well, thank you so much. And just crossing right there is McKay Vizina from Canada, 12:59.21. That's going to put McKay into that second spot, right behind Josh Carlson, who we just heard from, standing by with Jackie Montgomery down there. And I'll tell you what, I don't know how Josh could even be riding again after that enduro on Sunday, man.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just your body's so depleted from the amount of just your sodium, the salts that you sweated out. You haven't probably gotten enough liquid back into you. The cool thing is, though, the top riders in the Enduro World Series, which includes Josh, these guys are professionals. They train day in, day out. They're meant for that kind of stuff, so they're meant to be able to recover, because a lot of Enduro World Series are actually multiple-day events.
Yeah.
So what Josh did on Sunday, some days in Winter Park, they had a 3-day event. It was the last round. So 3 days afterwards, you know, not so bad. And he's stoked. I mean, that's the cool thing. As soon as you put a microphone in his face, you know, how you feeling? I'm just stoked. I'm just stoked to be where I'm at. That's cool to see.
Wow.
You know, there's just a bit of cross-training for him here.
And that's the epitome of Crankworx right there. Look at these guys just having a good time. Going to one of our riders on course right now. This is number 40, plate 40.
That is Lewis Hamilton taking a break from Formula One racing by the looks of it. Or is it? No, it's a different Lewis Hamilton. This guy is from New Zealand, from Rotorua, riding for Troy Lee Designs. He's coming through now on the 40 plate. He's going to be outside the 13 minutes and 30 seconds mark. Lewis Hamilton, he's coming through the line. The time is 13 minutes, 29 seconds. Still a top 10 result for him. He goes 7th place.
All right, well, let's see if we can take a look at the leaderboard right now and seeing how things are mixing up. Here we go. Josh Carlson, number 1 spot, 12:48. That was the time for Josh Carlson right there, holding on that number 1 spot. McKay Vizina in second at 12:59 right there. And then you can see Jamie Nickel now in that third. That's your 1, 2, 3. As we get about 15 more riders to go, and we'll be wrapping things up here. That's your Jeep leaderboard, breaking it down for you. Well, more coming up. We're bringing the pro men across the line here from the Garbo DH. We'll be right back, live from Whistler, right after this. And right there, Adam Brayton coming across into second place at 12:51.94. Let's hear it for Adam Brayton. Saya, I know you'd be behind this right now.
Well, I'd definitely be behind him. He'd be a lot faster than me, to be honest, Brad. But, you know, Adam Brayton there, Mr. Gas to Flat. I'm so glad he hasn't crashed, because we know what happens when a spectator takes his bike down the course.
All right, this one coming in from Viral MTB. Crankworx, the Garbo course, is running fast this year. Betting on a 12:15 of the top rider. Did Remy Metallier do it? Hashtag Crankworx.
Well, we haven't seen Remy yet, so not looking like a good one for him to be doing it today. But 12:15, that's a pretty hefty order that they're going to be asking for there. It's going to be quite a few seconds off the fastest time ever, so we'll just have to wait and see what goes on there.
Well, I guess we're getting word that Remy's about 8 minutes into this Garbo DH course right now.
Are you telling me that Vital MTB are saying I'm wrong?
Vital MTB is, I think, calling you out. I mean, they didn't say it, but if you read between the lines right there, Si, they are calling you out.
I'm going to have a wager on those boys.
Oh, good stuff, man. Tristan Merrick, Cy Payton, Brad J here in the booth. And let's take a look at some of the GoPro from the top here. Marcelo Gutierrez right here. Watching his line. He's got the fast lines, right?
No, exactly. You can see just even that first corner, getting the inside there, sticking close, getting to the outside of the track where it's a lot smoother. Just trying to make sure his body is, you're not wasting energy on the way down. Again, the smooth line is normally the fast line, which is less energy spent, so you can have more sprinting speed later on. See, though, that line right back up there, up and over to the right. Go up there yourselves tomorrow and go check that out. He makes it look easy here on this GoPro footage, but in real life, you look at, there's actually quite a good, about a 1.5 foot step up onto the rock that he's doing there. And again, the speed he's carrying down through these berms is just, they're all flat corners, talcum dust everywhere, extremely slippery. And he's just, he's on the gas right now, making it look way too easy. Again, cutting that corner there, wheeling through that section right on the left. And then this is the uphill, the infamous uphill. It's gotten a lot smoother in years. It used to be a lot harder, and you actually would, top elite riders would walk along that. Nowadays, you're just pushing along there. Again, this is why he has that adjustable seat post, just popping it up, checking out the view here. But right now, you're just heavy breathing, cutting to the inside. Again, that's a new line there that's formed over the years, up over some logs. Now you're skirting out around, just missing the entrance into Shale Master, and then just straight back up to full high speed. And it's just crazy to see how things have changed.
And do you know what's so good about these GoPros? You know, actually it's not there. These riders aren't filming it for self-gratification. This is probably the greatest learning tool out there. These riders will go home. You know, last night they would have been watching this on their laptops, learning the course, visualizing it in their head, sat in their bed, twisting and turning, making sure they know this course like the back of the hand. You know, it's almost like a safety feature as well, a safety tool, you know, knowing this course, especially when it's 12 to 15 minutes long. You just can't seem to remember everything, especially if you're an international rider. You're not familiar with the terrain that's in front of you. You know, the locals, I'm sure, know it like the back of the hand, but for the rest of us that come here and perhaps only get to ride this course perhaps 4 or 5 times in practice, it still isn't really enough to get to know it.
Sitting in bed, twisting and turning. Are you sure we're talking about the same thing here, Si? You kind of lost me a little bit there.
But I mean, you talk about this as a training tool. This really is a training tool because you can really examine the lines that you're taking and the lines that you see that might be available.
Oh, well, I know for a fact, you know, Danny Hart watched this with Marcelo and you know, perhaps you want to go a little bit more inside here or a bit more on the right-hand side, or that was a good line. You could have cut that corner slightly there. You know, so it is very interesting that the riders, not just the pro riders, but all the amateur riders out there as well, you see a lot of them running the GoPros. There is no better training tool out there.
So now do you think that all these riders, Tristan, will do stuff like this? Will film their practice runs and then be able to look at them?
Not everybody. I mean, everybody has each their own way. I mean, I know with Sam Hill years ago, he would go and he'd practice all the goofy lines out there. He wouldn't use a GoPro. He'd just practice everything else. That was his style. I mean, I think that with a lot of riders, some are visual. They need to look at that race footage afterwards. And Marcelo taking a high line there, just skipping out on a whole berm section, just not even needing that. So each rider's different. Some need the GoPro, some just do 1 or 2 laps, and that's it. That's all they need to do.
All right, we'll take our attention here back up top here in just a moment. I think we got, coming up for you, we got Walker Shaw.
Walker Shaw, one of the riders who's won the junior wins on the World Cup so far this year. Super fast guy. His brother Lucas Shaw racing the Enduro World Series. So those boys splitting up their duties here throughout the season. Brothers that are at the top at the elite standard.
So
yeah,
here
that works, I think, for Oling Shocks, but he seems to be taking it easy now. He's a minute off the pace at least, a minute and a half, so he just seems to be cruising through. So Walker Shaw's time of 14 minutes, 20 seconds.
And then we go back up top. We've got another racer on course for you right now. That's Remy Gavin right there. Remy Gavin now on course.
Remy getting 3rd place last year, and he's coming down right now. Time's looking tight, though. He's got about 8 seconds to make it down to the line here.
Here he goes, Remy down the GLC. Gonna get some pedal strokes in across the finish line. Remy Gavin coming in. What's gonna be the time? 2nd place, a 12:49.90 for Remy Gavin right there. And last year, you're talking about it, ended up in that 3rd spot, got up on the podium right behind Blanky in 2nd, and Marcelo, who took the win. All right, well, we hear that Jackie Montgomery is standing by with a special guest. Let's see who she's got. Let's send it down to her right now. Jackie, who do you got with you?
Thank you, guys. I'm here with Steve Smith, who unfortunately has a bum wheel right now. Normally, we would be seeing him out there on the Garbo DH, the Air DH, and of course, the Canadian Open DH later this weekend, but no go for you. What happened?
Yeah, I was just at the last World Cup Mountain Ann, and it was just a fluky little thing. I clipped a rock going quick, and yeah, here I am in a cast and watching for the first time.
Now, is it, I mean, it has to be frustrating, but is it, I mean, do you at least enjoy a little bit of it, getting to cheer on, you know, the fellow Red Bull athletes and, of course, the fellow Canadians?
Yeah, absolutely. I love being at races, whether I'm racing or not. It's great. I can cheer on my guys and just watch the event and enjoy it. Of course, I'd rather be racing, but at least I'm here.
See, I like that he is not letting this broken ankle slow him down. He actually had his mechanic trick out his crutches right here, put some special grip on there.
Yeah, you know, he's bummed out as like I am. He can't work on my bike, so he's trying to fix anything.
Now, you would be going for the 4-peat this year in the Canadian Open downhill. So since you will not be able to race, who is your pick to take the title this year?
Yeah, it's a tough one. There's a lot of quick guys here, and obviously I'm rooting for some of the local guys. I want, you know, Remy Gavin, Mark Wallace, all the Da Vinci boys, Nick Beer, my teammate. I think all those guys have a good chance. Mark Wallace, he's always quick here in Whistler, and I'm thinking he can do really well.
Well, of course, it's a bummer to see you sidelined for this year. Heal up quick so we can see you out here next year.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, we'll send it back up to you.
Steve Smith right there, the winner back in 2012. And now we take our attention back up top. Right now we got, what do we got, Kyle Sangers out there from Pemberton?
Yeah, Kyle Sangers, one of the Performix Montreal riders, riding with Remy Gavin. So Remy Gavin going 1 second slower than his last year's time, so you know he'd be a little disappointed in that. He's fitter than ever right now. Just having some issues here and there, but Kyle Sangers coming down, coming off an injury right now, so he's not at 100% as he's coming down, crossing the line here. 29 seconds back, good enough for 6th place, but he's on the rehab program, just trying to get back into racing shape.
So 13:17:38 for him. Still Josh Carlson, top time, 12:48:18. Remy Gavin in 2nd now, 12:49.9. And Adam Brayton in that 3rd spot with a 12:51.94. So 1 through 4 are under the 13-minute mark out here today. All right, well, there's a look at it right there. Josh Carlson so far, the big time right there with a 12:48, and then Remy Gavin in 2nd, Adam Brayton 3rd, with Kay Vazina and Jamie Nickel rounding out your top 5. We'll be back with more of the pros cross the line right here. Crankworx Whistler, Garbo DH.
If the country is wild, get a 4x4. If the country is big, get a 9-speed transmission and 44 miles per gallon. If the country is rugged, get comfortable with full-grain Napa leather and technology to keep you on the right path. And if the country is Canada, get a Jeep Cherokee. Ajax 2014 Canadian Utility Vehicle of the Year.
The weekend's here and we're ready to roll. We kick it off and snag these new Bud Light Quickies. These slim cans get cold fast, then we head straight to the beach. When we're ready, they're nice and frosty. Watch the sunset by the fire and we break out the tunes. As the night cools down, things really heat up. Next day, we head to Dave's cottage, pop some quickies in the cooler. They get icy in no time. The games begin and TJ busts out a jig. Someone shimmies, someone shakes. We dance like nobody's watching, but everybody is. Summer's here and these little quickies get cold fast. Perfect for Bud Light living.
And back to the action here, your Garbo DH, 11 years of the Garbo here at Crankworx Whistler. Hashtag everything Crankworx, take your pictures. Follow on Facebook, follow on Instagram and Twitter at Crankworx. Here we go, Dean Lucas, the Aussie, 13:22 and counting, trying to beat Josh Carlson's top time of the day so far, 12:48.18. And that's 20 seconds off the top time of Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas from last year's winning time.
Yeah, one of the Da Vinci Global Racing, one of the teammates there of Stevie Smith, running gloveless as well. Dean Lucas comes through with that time of 18th place, 13 minutes, 43 seconds for the Australian. But Josh Carlson there looks still happy in that Fox hot seat at the moment.
Carlson looking like he's actually going to be guaranteed a top 10 result here if everything goes to plan right now. So an Enduro World Series rider battling out with the downhill guys here and possibly getting a top 10. But Mark Wallace right now, he's on a stormer, folks. Coming into that bottom section of Monkey Hands. He's just got to get through that last rock garden, hopping up and over there. Clock ticking away right now, 12:22, 12:23. Question is, can he hold it through to the bottom part of the course here? One last little sprint down through this right-hander, getting through those braking bumps.
Yeah, Mark Wallace making that Da Vinci work on this course, looking smooth. Racing that new Fox kit. Here he comes through over the GLC.
There he goes, putting those pedal strokes in. Mark Wallace, can he do it? The time in for Mark Wallace, 12:44.20. Say hello to your new leader, Mark Wallace. So he's got to feel pretty good about that at 12:44.20, but with guys like Marcelo still to come, is he safe, Tristan?
The big guns are still to come down that hill. You know, he's got to be stoked with a time like that, but I just don't think that's going to hold enough at the end of the day. Again, though, one of the teammates of Steve Smith on that global Da Vinci racing team, along with Mr. Lucas there. So a fast time put in by him, but there's some big guys still to come.
Yeah, it's one of those things you're happy, but you got more coming up. Fox Air DH tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, beginning underway, 2:30 on the East Coast. Your Fox Air DH going large and in charge for tomorrow actions. Day number 6 tomorrow for Crankworx Whistler. And the 11th year going on here, Crankworx Whistler. Will join us for the Fox Air DH tomorrow.
It's kind of crazy to think we're already at day number 6. It's we've been waiting. You asked me what it's like to, a month out from it, and we're all excited. And now I'm like, huh?
What?
It's day 6 tomorrow.
We're almost done.
You mean I got to go back to my regular job at the end of the week?
There you go, right there. 1 through 5, you can see under the 13-minute mark from Bazina in that 5th, Brayton in the 4th spot, Galvan in number 3, Carlson number 2, and Wallace with the fastest time so far today, 12:44.20. And once again, to put it in perspective, 12:28 last year, Marcelo's winning time side.
Yeah, these guys are still 16 seconds off the pace at the moment. So what will happen later on? We shall find out in about 15 minutes' time.
All right, well, it's time to check back in with Jackie standing by with our current leader. Let's send it downstairs to Jackie Montgomery. Jackie?
Mark Wallace coming in 4 seconds faster than the previous, Josh Carlson, who is sitting in the hot seat. How are you able to get down so smoothly and with such a fast time?
I don't know, just went as hard as I could the whole way and deteriorated as it went on, but I guess it was just enough so far.
Now you're from not too far away, Vancouver Island, so you ride this park quite a bit. How much of that familiarity gave you an advantage out there?
It's pretty big. Like, you don't have to do as many practice runs, and you kind of know where you're going. It's a lot less to learn.
Now everyone's been talking about the conditions out there. Obviously, we're pretty much all the way through the contest right now, so how is that track holding up for you guys?
Hasn't changed a whole lot, but it's definitely dry and loose and rough.
All right, guys, we'll see how long he'll stay in the hot seat right now. Mark Wallace, your current leader with a time of 12:44.20.
I like what he said, though, too. It's about, you don't have as much work to do, Tristan, when you ride this place as much as he does.
I mean, that's the beauty with the Whistler Bike Park. It's always here. It's always open. You can come ride the same track over and over again just to prepare for Crankworx. Other than a few little maybe different taping jobs and just things kind of wearing out a bit. The tracks here don't deteriorate as quickly as they do at other races. So it makes it easier for the riders. Mark Wallace races all around the world, comes back here, still feels like home, and he's a Vancouver Island boy. So a good story at the end of the day.
Tristan, break it down for you. And Tristan had a chance to break it down for us on course. And here was the third report from Tristan Merrick. Take a look at this right here.
with rain falling at the top of the chair during practice, but dry, dusty conditions down here at the bottom. It's anybody's guess what it's going to be like come race time, and that's the hardest thing with being a racer. Practice finishing this morning, but race run's not happening till this afternoon. You're going to have to be a well-seasoned veteran if you want to attack the Garbanzo downhill and come away successful at the end of the day. It's the biggest, best race of Crankworx, and it's only happening here at Whistler.
All right, back to the racing right there. Tristan with his report. Bryn Atkinson now.
So Bryn Atkinson on the Norco Factory International team there, coming down with a really good time. Not enough to stay in touch with Mark Wallace right there. It's still going to be a strong result for him. He's been charging all year long. Always got a big smile on his face and coming down across that line. 7.4 seconds back. Good enough for 4th place right now for Bryn Atkinson. Spending part-time duty between between the Seattle area and down in Australia. But Matt Walker now coming down across the line.
Yeah, Matt Walker, sister races BMX, New Zealand's first ever BMX Olympian. I think she got 4th in 2012, 4th in 2008 in Beijing at the Olympics there, and 2nd 2012 in London. So racing is in the family. He's a seasoned World Cup racer. I think his best result was 22nd at Cairns, round 2 of the World Cup Series earlier this year.
And checking the times once again, Mark Wallace, 12:44.20. Your leader, Josh Carlson, relinquished to that 2nd spot with a 12:48.18. And Remy Gavin, who was in 3rd last year when all was said and done and the dust cleared, is in 3rd again this year with a 12:49.9. Has only a few more riders to go. Chris Kovarek should be coming up. Now, that's a guy who's done some big things out here in the past.
He's won back in 2010, 2nd in 2009, 3rd in 2012. You know he's going to want to get back up into that top spot, though. But just big names. We've got Richie Rude, Shark Attack, Jack Moore. We've got Eddie Masters, Win Masters, the brothers from down in New Zealand, Nick Beer, and then Marcelo. So the big dogs are still to play. They're still to come. They're coming out at 2-minute intervals now. So we're giving them a little bit of extra space, making sure it's a nice clean track for each rider coming down, so they're not going to possibly catch the person in front of them unless the person in front's having some big issues.
Well, this just in right now. Last rider on course. Looks like Marcelo has now left the gate. So Marcelo Gutierrez is now officially on course. As we were checking 23, Chris Kovarek now.
Yeah, Chris Kovarek, first ever World Cup win was back in 2001 at Mount St. Anne. His wife, Claire Buchar, has already took the win today in the women's elite category. What can Chris Kovarek do on this one? 14 odd years with Intense. That is loyalty with one of the biggest sponsors out there. Chris Kovarek on course. He knows how to hang on to that bike. He knows his course by the back of his hand. He does a lot of coaching days here. He is basically a Whistler local. Chris Kovarek crosses the line.
And the time in for Chris going to be at 13:08. Let's hear it for Chris Kovarek. Put your hands together for him. He's done it in a big way here for many years. 2nd in 09. Swiss was saying 1st 2010, 3rd in 2012. Been on that podium many times, Chris Kovarek.
Still strong showing, though, for him, but we've still got some names. Richie Rude, Jack Moore, Eddie Masters.
So no changes in the top 3. Mark Wallace, 12:44.2. Josh Carlson in that 2nd spot. Remy Gavin in that 3rd. Bryn Atkinson holding down 4th. Adam Brayton in the number 5 spot right now.
It's going to be interesting to see what Eddie Masters can do. This guy qualified super well earlier this year at the Cairns World Cup. He's a bit of a wild card. He's always got something funny to say. He's shaving weird things into his beard or into his hair, having a crazy style on that Bergamot team with Casey Brown and the rest of the rest of his team. So, and especially Shark Attack Jack.
Well, thanks for joining us on the World Wide Web. Good to have you guys all along with us, watching from wherever you're watching. All the great people here in Whistler. Hey, thank you guys for showing up once again and being part of such a great event here at Crankworx Whistler. The 11th year going on here, and 11 years for the Garbo DH. Yeah, it's changed a little bit in the first couple years, but it's always been called the Garbo. It's always had DH in its name. It was Enduro DH for a little while, but Garbo, it's going to be here to stay, right, Tristan?
Oh, 100%. This is one of the staple items here at Crankworx. You know, we've seen it in different variations. We have different titles, but really at the end of the day, it's been the same thing. Top of the Garbanzo chair, down to the valley as quickly as you can, 3,400 vertical feet. It has been a little bit longer in the past. I just don't see that changing anytime soon, though. It's designed to be a race that challenges the riders, challenges their equipment. and really displays the most elite rider in the world here at the end of the day. If you win it, you've won, and you've won on fair ground.
I like what Carlson said earlier about what after the enduro. This is easy. You just got to go downhill.
Yeah, you just got to get on it. You don't have to pedal between stages or anything. That being said, though, I mean, the Garbo is so physically demanding. You've got the one uphill section. You've got up on Originalson. Then, of course, on Golden Triangle, you got to sprint your brains out. And then just in general on the lower mountain, I think the big thing is, though, we've kind of touched on it, but I think really we need to adjust as the announcers. These guys are attacking the entire way down. Gone are the days where you're kind of cruising along. You can conserve your energy up top. These are the world elite riders, and they are pushing the entire way down from start to finish.
And if we take our attention back up top here to our next rider coming down.
So this should be rider number, it's rider number 15. Richie Ruders.
Yeah, just getting the
DNS did not start Richie Rude. This is Jack Moir there from Australia riding for the Bergamot Hayes team.
Shark Attack Jack, he's a bit of a wild card. He's had some good results earlier this year. He had a real strong showing down in Cairns in Australia. That wet, muddy race. Completely different, though, here today. Dry, dusty. This is what you would have thought Australia's race would have been like. So things not going well for him, though, today. Still coming down with that solid time. Good enough for 8th place, 27 seconds back.
Yeah, with that many racers in the mix here, 8th place. Very respectable finish right there for Jack Moir.
Yeah, Jack Moir, 3rd at the Australian National Champs this year. 11th is his best World Cup result down there at Cairns for round 2.
So we're still waiting to see Eddie Masters, Win Masters, Nick Beer, and last year's defending champ, Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas, all to come. There you can see Wallace, the #1 guy, #1 time, 12:44.20. Carlson, 2nd, 12:48.18. Remy Gavin in 3rd, just like last year with the 12:49.9 for him. Will that hold up? Will we have a new champ, or will Marcelo be able to repeat?
Well, we had Vital MTB already call out size, so we'll have to wait and see exactly what the time says at the end of the day here. I mean, Mark Wallace still 22 seconds off your, or 24 seconds off your prediction there, size. So there's a lot of time that's got to fall between now and then. But Marcelo, he's a diesel steam engine. That guy has got nothing but power. Mark Wallace, great kid, young kid, still in that kind of developing, building stage there. We've got our next rider coming into view, full speed tuck right now. That would be Eddie Masters coming down for the Bergamot Hayes team.
Yeah, Eddie Masters there on the 14th plate, 24th at round 3 of Fort William World Cup. You know, he got 10th here last year in the Garbanzo, didn't do so well in the air downhill, scored 116th place, and in the Canadian Open, he was outside the top 100. So the best course for him here really is this Garbanzo downhill. 10th last year, but it's going to be outside the time now for Eddie Masters, outside of Mark Wallace's winning time there so far of 12 minutes, 44 seconds for the Bergamot Hayes rider as he crosses the GLC drop, going big, still got some power as he crosses that line. Masters goes 6th place, 12 minutes, 57 seconds.
And Mark Wallace dodging yet another bullet right there, the Canadian with a 12:44.20. Mark Wallace still holding that top spot with 3 more competitors standing between him and the win out here today in the 11th year of the Garbo DH here at day number 5, Crankworx Whistler. Cy Payton, Tristan Merrick, the captain, Brad J. up here calling the action for you, your Garbo DH.
So we're seeing the bigger gaps right now, though. 2-minute gaps between our riders, so we've got a bit of a break. But still some fast riders to come down here.
So explain it too. I mean, Tristan, we do 1-minute breaks when we start out the pro division for the men, then we go to the 2-minute break. Where do they go 2 minutes between each athlete?
Well, as we further get down into that kind of top 10, we want to make sure they have such a fair advantage between each of them there, that there's nothing on course. It makes it easier for us, too, to broadcast. You're not going to catch somebody going down there. As we saw, though, in the EWS on Sunday, even with minute intervals, guys like Jared Graves easily catching the guys ahead of them there. So with only 3 more riders to come down on course, so the 1-minute intervals, or 2-minute intervals, sorry, we've got our next rider coming down into view here. This is Win Masters. He actually didn't even have a bike, thanks to Air Canada having a little bit of issue there the other day. So maybe not as much practice as he's hoped for, but he was hanging out here earlier this year. Win Masters, the other part of that brother duo. And he's on a pretty good time right now, coming down to the last little section. If he gets in and out of these woods, not enough really to probably stay in touch with that #1 spot. Mark Wallace probably breathing a little easier now, but still a strong showing for Win Masters.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why he's running that number plate upside down, as to what the World Cup racers do, they don't want it to be unlucky, that number 13, so they turn it the wrong way round. He is going to be outside that time of 12:44, the rider from New Plymouth, New Zealand. Remember him last year, he was looking a little bit worse for wear. He comes through sixth
Yeah.
place, 12:54.
12:54.95. But let's check in with Jackie Montgomery standing by with our current leader. Jackie?
Mark Wallace, you're still in the hot seat. Only 2 more riders to go. What sort of thoughts are going through your mind right now?
Well, I didn't know there was only 2, so that's kind of nice to know. Yeah, just I was hoping for a podium, and I guess if there's only 2 left, I got one, so.
Now, earlier you were saying that you were feeling a little nauseous thinking about throwing up. Has that surpassed?
Yeah, it's all good now.
All right, 2 more riders to go. Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
Thanks, Jackie. Yeah, do the math, my friend Mark Wallace. You are going to come away with a podium position. Where that is on the podium, first, second, or third, that's up to our next 2 riders as they make our way down. But those next 2 riders, Nick Beer and Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas, the guy who won it all last year.
100%. And Nick Beer, also a teammate of Mark Wallace. So at the end of the day, Da Vinci's got to be feeling pretty good right now. They could potentially have 2 riders up on that box, of course. They want somebody in that #1 spot, but I'm sure Marcelo is up top. He's probably just giving her. He's probably down in that lower section of the mount now, come down into that golden triangle zone. But we're looking right now. Here comes the other rider. We got Nick Beer. He's one of the other riders, and he is on a flyer right now, folks. He is coming into lower monkey hands just over that 12-minute mark. If he makes his way through here with enough speed and ease, he was drifting that corner super hard in practice earlier on today. Again, the clock ticking away. He's got about 20 seconds under that now to get into the bottom part of the course.
Yeah, here comes Nick Beer, the Da Vinci Global Racing rider for Red Bull, out of Interlaken there in Switzerland. He's going to come through off the drop now.
Here we go. Nick Beer, the Swiss rider, putting that one down, pedaling across the line. What's going to be the time? Nick Beer, 12:43.30, taking the top spot away from Mark Wallace. The Da Vinci rider putting that in, tapping that heart. Amazing stuff and an amazing time, guys.
Yeah, he's going to be super happy with that. His best result this year so far at the World Cup was 17th in a stacked field last year. He only did the Air DH and the Canadian Open. If you remember, the World Cup was on the Sunday at Mount St. Anne, so a lot of the riders couldn't get over here and practice in time for this race, the Garbanzo DH.
All right, well, I think we need to check in with Jackie standing by with our top 2 Da Vinci riders, #1 and #2. Jackie?
First of all, Nick, have you caught your breath yet? That's a very long course that you just finished in the top time.
Yeah, I have breath, but my lungs are burning.
Now you're able to get in just under a second past Mark Wallace. How does it feel to currently be in the hot seat with only 1 rider to go?
It's a great feeling. Beating Mark Wallace was one of my goals here, for sure. And see what the last man is doing up there.
Oh, you guys are all friends here, right, though?
Yeah, we are friends. We're all friends.
Knowing that it is Marcelo Gutierrez who won this event last year, does it make it even more nerve-wracking knowing that he's the last rider to come through?
I know he's going to be super fast for sure. And yeah, let's see how he does.
All right, guys, back up to you.
Oh, well, you can see that. Hey, that's not very nice. I'm trying to beat my teammate out there. No, I know it's all fun with these guys, having a good time out there.
Mark Wallace is just a kid, but the stage is now set, folks.
Yeah.
One man only up on track. Last year's 2013 Garbanzo DH winner. That's Marcelo Gutierrez. He's one man standing between the Da Vinci rider and that #1 spot.
So one thing guaranteed, there's going to be 2 Da Vinci riders on the podium. Are they going to be in the #1, #2 slot? Are they going to be in #2, #3? It's all up to Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas, and here he comes.
Oh my God, he's coming down through that Longhorn section. He's in full tuck. You got to be breathing hard right now. One last technical section here as he's dropping into monkey hands. But looking at that clock, we have not seen anybody go this fast. Coming down through that last section, getting real huckabuck, drifting it out. Marcelo, though, looking smooth here through this last treat section. This is really the hard section. He's just got to get on the pedals now.
Yeah, here he comes, the 24-year-old Giant Off-Road Factory rider. He's riding that brand new large frame. He's 1.7 meters high. That's the size frame he's chosen for this year.
Check the time. Check the time. Here we go. Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas coming across with a 12:24.65, taking the win, the last rider of the day. Back-to-back wins on your Garbo DH. Yes, Well, an amazing, amazing run, beating his time from last year. A 12:28 is what Marcelo had last year. A 12:24 this year, shaving 4 seconds off that time, and is going to come away as your Garbo DH winner for 2014. And Nick Beer, the Swiss rider, 12:43.30 in that second spark, and Mark Wallace, the Vinci rider, in third from Canada, 12:44.20, guys.
An amazing ride he put on here today, just charging, storming down that course. I think it's safe to say he has the local knowledge, Brad. He knows every nook and cranny there, keeping his speed up, setting a new course record, and making it look all too easy. He doesn't even seem like he's out of breath. Some people are breathing heavy, talking about burning lungs and spitting and having water and taking needing a minute or two here before an interview. He seems like he's fine. He's just cracking a cold one and he's ready to go.
Yeah, Marcelo there, he was riding with Josh Carlson earlier this morning, but a few laps in. You know, great teammates.
All right, well, let's send it downstairs to Jackie Montgomery, standing by with our winner. Jackie.
Marcelo Gutierrez, back-to-back Garbanzo downhill champion. How does it feel to be, once again, the title holder?
I'm really satisfied. Like, I came here with a bit of pressure because I wanted to do it again. I know it's not an easy track. It's like, there's a lot of things up there where you can do mistakes, and it's really tiring. But I was feeling good yesterday and the day before when I was training, and I thought I was confident of that I could do a good job. So I'm glad it went good.
Not an easy course indeed, but you shaved 4 seconds off your winning time from last year, setting a new course record at 12:24.65. How were you able to do it?
Yeah, I thought I was actually gonna be a bit slower because there are new, like some few corners that they built. So I thought I was gonna be a bit like off that 28, but I felt good on my run. I can't complain. I pedal hard, like I hit all my lines, and the time showed that I did a good job, so I'm pleased with that.
Is this victory any more special over last year?
Oh yeah, like getting it again, like doing it again, is like double satisfaction for me. So I'll try again next year and see how it goes.
All right, thanks for the time. Congratulations once again, Marcelo Gutierrez, back-to-back champion here at the Garbanzo Downhill.
Unbelievable turn of events out here and going back to back, and we've only seen it, it was only done one ever time before. Garbo DH has been a different race ever since then, but shows you just how strong Marcelo is right there. Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas, 12:24. That's going to be a course record right there. Going to shave off 4 seconds off that. Nick Beer, Swiss rider, taking that second place. Mark Wallace in third. We got the awards for the pro divisions. Well, they're coming up right after this.
Miss me. I miss all of y'all.
I can see it the way you like. I can do it the way you want to ride it. My motorcycle. You got a license. You got the right to.
If the country is wild, get a 4x4. If the country is big, get a 9-speed transmission and 44 miles per gallon. If the country is rugged, get comfortable with full-grain Napa leather and technology to keep you on the right path. And if the country is Canada, get a Jeep Cherokee. Ajax 2014 Canadian Utility Vehicle of the Year.
The weekend's here and we're ready to roll. We kick it off and snag these new Bud Light Quickies. These slim cans get cold fast, then we head straight to the beach. When we're ready, they're nice and frosty. Watch the sunset by the fire and we break out the tunes. As the night cools down, things really heat up. Next day, we head to Dave's cottage, pop some quickies in the cooler, they get icy in no time. The games begin and TJ busts out a jig. Someone shimmies, someone shakes. We dance like nobody's watching, but everybody is. Summer's here and these little quickies get cold fast. Perfect for Bud Light living.
And a very picturesque day out here. Crankworx Whistler, day number 5, Garbo DH. All said and done. Got the awards coming up for you in just a moment here. Let's take a look at our official leaderboard right now and break down how it all kind of played out for us today.
You know,
Well,
Brad, you were telling me earlier that you know, only 2 people have won twice.
Yes.
Sam Hill a few years back.
Sam Hill did it.
This year now it's Marcelo. He's one of the last 2 years. The gauntlet's got to be down. If Mr. Hill is listening, watching out there, Nigel Page's team manager, the gauntlet has been set now. Who will be the only person to win the Garbanzo DH, the toughest downhill race in the world 3 times?
All right, Tristan sided pretty good on his prediction on the winning time, did he?
He did.
I mean, I hate to say this.
He's a bit of a calculator. I mean, he is British. He loves his racing. He knows how to break down that stuff. I mean, I will give it to him. He was pretty dead on today. I mean, the sub 12-minute thing.
So Vital MTB was saying that you weren't going to be right, but you want to. Would you like to say something to Vital MTB, because you did pretty much call it? You called, what did you call it? 12:22 and 12:24 was our time.
So I was 2 seconds out. I don't know what the percentage is when you look at that over a course that's 12 and a half minutes long.
Yeah.
You know, Vital MTB, they're a great bunch of guys out there. So just better luck next time, guys.
I mean, seeing Marcelo take the back-to-back wins, I mean, in such a grueling downhill course that it is for the Garbo DH, that's pretty amazing stuff, Tristan.
I think that's what makes Crankworx so special, and specifically with that race. He's won it 2 years in a row. It was probably a big motivation for him coming in here. Like I said, he hasn't been having the World Cup season he's after, and he even said at the finish line, he's been putting a bit of pressure on himself to perform, and he's got it. Back-to-back wins. I mean, the biggest thing now is, can he do it three-peat? I mean, we're not even done yet. We haven't even given him his award, but three-peat next year. Can he do it? You know he'll want to be back. You know he'll be wanting to try and keep that award. It's a good thing to have. It's prestigious. It's a Garbo DH. It's the toughest out there.
That's epic that we're already talking about the three-peat for next year. And like you said, he hasn't even put the Crankworx medal around his neck.
Yeah, 2015, we're looking at that already. But, you know, thanks to his mechanic as well, Paul Miles, the equipment that he's running, that giant bike with all the SRAM kit on there as well. You know, Marcelo was riding, as I said earlier, with your friend Travis Pastrana.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know whether he gave him a few little tips coming down the hill. Maybe keep it rubber side down rather than trying to do a couple of big cork 360s or something. I don't know what Travis does these days on his motocross bike.
We'll see. Talk a little about Into the Zone, Tristan.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a Whistler Blackcomb Bike Park marketing campaign, and you have 3 specific zones here. You have the Fit Zone, you have the Garbo Zone, and you have the Peak Zone. Peak Zone's completely new in the past couple of years. We got to race it on Sunday for the Enduro World Series. It's open to everybody. All you do is go buy guest services, pick up a ticket. You can go shred a lap of it tomorrow. It's picturesque up there. They limit how many riders, so it's your own little bike park. It's truly amazing. It's one of my favorite places to finish a day after working in the office.
Sounds good. Well, let's give you a little sample instead of us talking about. It's all about Into the Zone. Take a look at this.
That's me.
And that's a little sample into the zone. And here you go, your Jeep. Crankworx Whistler leaderboard. Here's how it played out. Claire Buchar taking it with the 14:22. Casey Brown in that second spot, 17.6 off that top time. Lorraine Truong, the Swiss rider, 1.146 off the top time of Claire Buchar right there.
Canada putting on a bit of a clinic, I'd hate to say, in their home track.
You don't hate to say that.
No, I don't hate to say that. Those colors do run. Now, though, looking at our Jeep leaderboard for our pro men, you see there Marcelo Gutierrez in that #1 spot, Nick Beer in second, and that young rider, young Canadian Vancouver Island boy, Mark Wallace in third, and then the surprise Enduro World Series rider, that shouldn't be too much of a surprise, Josh Carlson in 4th place.
And then you see Remy Gavin, who was 3rd last year, the Canadian, in that 5th spot. Brent Atkinson and 6th, and Adam Brayton 7, win Masters in that 8th spot, the Kiwi.
Yeah, looking there, Chris Kavar at the local there in the 11th place. Jamie Nicol, good time, 13th place. And also Kyle Sangers, another Canadian there in the 14th.
And, you know, we've been getting the tweets. They've been coming in basically all day long, and that's a hashtag Crankworx, hashtag Crankworx. And Gutierrez taking the win at the Garbo DH, hashtag Crankworx. Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas wins another Garbo DH. He won by a lot. This is from Juan Pablo. Marcelo Guvi, yeah, man. Garbo DH, winner back-to-back. Marcelo, you made your country proud. That's Isabella. And Luke, I feel like a boss having foreseen Marcelo winning time. Gutierrez taking the win. There you go, right there. That's how it is. And it's time to get down to business with your men's awards. We're going to start with the men first. All right, before we get started with our awards, put your hands together for all the racers out here today, Whistler. Let's hear it for all the guys and the girls. And in 3rd place for the men from Canada, doing it for Da Vinci. Put your hands together for Mark Wallace. And put that big check in his hands. Mark Wallace for Da Vinci from Canada taking 3rd. Put your hands together for Mark Wallace one more time. And in 2nd place, the Swiss racer doing it for Da Vinci Global Racing. Give it up for Nick Beer. One more time for Nick Beer, the Swiss rider, grabbing that 2nd spot out here today. And now it's time that you've been waiting. Your Garbo DH 2014 winner, going back-to-back. Did it last year, does it again this year, doing it for Red Bull from Colombia. Let's hear it for Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas. And put that gold medal around his neck. And hand him that big check. One more time. Let's hear it for Mark Wallace, Nick Beer, and your back-to-back champ, Marcelo Gutierrez Villegas. All right, thoughts about the men's racing side? You pretty much almost called that within 2 seconds.
You know, Marcelo there, he dominated. Last year, he was 7 seconds up. This year now, I'm not even sure what the time gap is actually. What is it, 70? Yes, what's about 24 seconds up, was it? Massive lead. He's dominated today, absolutely dominated, so he must be happy with that. Same for his teammates and his mechanic as well.
And then Tristan, of course, that's a new course record right there. Marcelo doing it again back-to-back. That's not an easy task.
No, not at all. Making it look easy. I just got to be stoked for the Canadian guy, Mark Wallace, on there. He's still a young kid. He's got lots to learn in terms of maturing as a rider, which only means one thing. He's going to be a fun person to watch in the future. He's going to be a threat for that top step of the box, getting third place today. And he was, you know, on a course this long, he was not that far out of touch with the winning time.
All right, well, time to move things on for the women. In third place for the women, the Swiss rider doing it for Fox. Let's hear it for Lorraine Truong. And there we go, presenting that large check one more time for the Swiss rider, Lorraine Truong. And in second place from Canada, doing it for Bergamot Hayes. Get loud and proud for Casey Brown. And one more time for Canada's Casey Brown in second. And your winner, your Garbo DH winner for 2014 from Crankworx Racing from Canada, it's Claire Buchar.
I think they'll probably want us to do the same thing. Probably. Pull girls back.
And one more time for the women. Let's hear it for them. 3, 2, and 1. There's your podium for your Garbo DH.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you took the brightness out of it a little bit, it'd probably be okay.
All right, Cy, well, we talked about the guys. The ladies did not disappoint. Final thoughts about the ladies racing?
There's been 3 outstanding points with the ladies, with Claire Buchar winning, but, beating last year's time by 17 seconds. She's gone a country mile ahead of that. Obviously, Marcelo Gutierrez as well, a country mile in the lead. But I'm also going to put it out there, Finn Isles would have been 16th in the elite category for the young 14-year-old that we're going to see later off in the whip-off contest. So, for me, that is a man to watch in the future.
All right, final thoughts for you, Tristan Merrick?
Just another legendary Garbanzo DH done and dusted. I just can't believe it's another one here. The weather held out. It played out perfect. We saw a new course record. We saw some women make some personal gains. Again, congrats to Claire for shaving 17 seconds off. That's a huge accomplishment on a track this big. Well, overall, just impressed in general of everybody's performance.
The Garbo DH never disappoints, that's for sure. The Garbo DH, that's going to be in the books. The ladies for you. They finished it up, the guys for it. But we got a busy day tomorrow, don't we, guys?
We've got another massive day. I mean, day number 6, I'm a little bit scared that we're already halfway through this, but it's a big one tomorrow. We got the Fox Air DH, one of my personal favorites.
That's right. Please join us for the Fox Air DH. That's going to be cracking off for you tomorrow. Also, check out Crankworx.com for all the information. But there you go. That's going to be the start time. Pacific Standard Time, 11:30, 2:30 on the East Coast. Your Fox Air DH coming at you tomorrow. On behalf of our entire Crankworx crew and the Whistler Bike Park, Tristan Merrick, Cy Payton, and, of course, Jackie Montgomery. I'm Brad J. Good night now from Whistler.